What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another exciting episode of the True Earth Debates, the open panel edition. One of my favorite contributions to the weekly schedule. Lost like 10 subscribers just then saying schedule. It's all good. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Got some legends over in the chat already. So we are going to be rocking and rolling here. Excuse me. In just a second. So, first and foremost, huge shout out to the legends over on Rockfin, Nominal, and John Osborne, and the 4 other silent champions. And then, of course, we also have, excuse me, man, got something in my throat. Got Lord Racer, Pacquiao McCleaver, Ethereal Creations. Almost read it like creatine. That's funny. Glober's hurting tonight, Witsit and troubling, flat smacking at the same time. Yeesh. Yeah, not a good day if you're a spinning space pair believer. All right. Also have Waterworld, Warnings, Sky Dome, Green Chili Bear, Nominal Lord Racer, JJ Clem, King Shin, Tekubus, and of course Waterworld. One second. My goodness. All right, so here is what we are going to go ahead and do before we go any further. I'm going to share this awesome clip with you guys so I can catch my breath, and we are going to drop that link. So without further ado, enjoy this clip brought to you by FMX. Oh.
We are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. We weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you. It's got about 18 million cracks in it. I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
Report to us. Let us know what the fuck they was doing. And for 40 years, they spent $500 million a year sending space shuttles up, bringing them back down. And they used to let us see them when they took off. And then when they landed, we'd be right there and we'd say, show us what you got. Then they started doing sneaky shit. Taking off the space shuttles at 3 o'clock in the goddamn morning and shit. Landing them in the middle of the night, and if ain't nobody looking, they just walk off. Just shh.
Alrighty. And the clip is absolutely dope. And me and Katt Williams got a lot in common in some ways, you could say. But awesome. Recovered thanks to my Tribune tea here. Absolutely delicious. While we were doing that, I went ahead and dropped the link for the Zoom for you guys, so I appreciate anybody who wants to come on in and help move this show along. This is the open panel True Earth debate. We have the stationary plane with topography versus the flying, spinning space pair. Sorry, oblate spheroid. Like to be scientifically correct, I guess, in the naming of their hypothetical Narnia model. But in any case, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse for the globe, we actually have another astounding piece of evidence that has come to the surface. So while oh, hey, Ruif, what's going on, my friend?
Yo.
It is like just brings people in silently, doesn't it?
Oh, I thought you had to let me in, actually.
No, actually,
All right.
it did not. All right, awesome. Well, let me go ahead and well, I did want to show one thing real quick, if you wouldn't mind sitting back for just a moment. And Jim as well, welcome to the show. So I am going to Where are we? Boom. Grabbed it. All right, perfect. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and play this for the audience. And have you seen this video, by the way, the taboo conspiracy? There's a new observation that just came out.
Yeah, seen and debunked. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we're going to play it, and then we'll let you have your best crack at it. But all right, let's go ahead and... Where are we at? All right, you guys get just a real brief look at the back end, and let's go ahead and play.
Hello
this video.
everyone. I have another great video to share with you today, and it comes from the channel Nouvelle Géographie Planétaire. I'll have a link in the description. Nouvelle Géographie Planétaire has had some fantastic long-distance videos in the past. I shared one of his videos a couple of years ago, and I do highly recommend that you subscribe to his channel. After I shared last week's video on the potential record long-distance video from Israel to Crete filmed by Shimshon, I received some messages letting me know that I forgot about Nouvelle's video. Okay, I admit it. I sometimes make mistakes and miss things, but I'm very glad I re-examined Nouvelle's video, because I do love this flat earth proof. The video segment I'm going to discuss is centered on this photograph taken by Andrew Bailey, and I'll call it the Bailey photo. And I don't know anything about Andrew other than he can take some awesome photos, and in this case, a world record photo. I will include a link to the Bailey photo so that you can download it yourself. The Bailey photo was taken from the highest mountain in Wales called Yrwythfa. It has an awesome little train that takes you to the top. I just love the views there. I don't know about you, but this definitely is my kind of thing. This is now officially on my bucket list. Yrwythfa has an elevation of 3,560 feet. Now, what makes the Bailey photo so amazing is that you can see the Alps that are over 700 miles away. Here is Yrwythfa, and here are the peaks. There are 8 peaks we're going to look at, starting from right to left, and please excuse my pronunciation. Jungfrau, at a distance of 701 miles. Grand Combe, 709 miles. Dent du Midi, 686 miles. Mont Blanc, 701 miles. Point Percy, 685 miles. La Tournette, 683 miles. Meige, 729 miles. And Bar des Secrets, 735 miles. Looking at the Bailey photo zoomed in, of course the naysayers are going to claim that those are clouds in the distance. And admittedly, it can be difficult to differentiate between white clouds and snow-capped mountains. But those are not clouds, and that's what I'm going to prove. On the Bailey photo, here is where you can find the 8 peaks. The Bar des Secrets there on the right is 735 miles away. Absolutely amazing. It would simply take too much time to look at all 8 peaks, and so I encourage you to watch the whole video by Nouvelle. He did a great job at lining those peaks up with the Bailey photo. For us, we're going to concentrate on only one path here, Yrwythfa to Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc, which means the White Mountain, is the highest mountain in the Alps. Here is Google Earth's elevation profile from Yrwythfa to Mont Blanc. Maybe you noticed that Google Earth got it right, and that there is no curvature for the elevation profile. But notice how there is little elevation in between our 2 points, which gives Yrwythfa at 3,560 feet a great vantage to see Mont Blanc at 15,774 feet. Here is where Mont Blanc is located in the Bailey photo. This is the same photo cropped. Compare this cropped photo of Mont Blanc with another picture of the same mountain from a distance. I don't think anyone can reasonably disagree. The Bailey photo certainly looks very close to the other actual pictures of Mont Blanc. It's very close. But if that were the only evidence, I'd probably not share this video because it would be too debatable. For me, this is what ends the debate. It is the fact that all 8 of these peaks match up with the Bailey photo, and I encourage you to examine it yourself. But let's look at Mont Blanc more closely. This is the Google pathway to Mont Blanc from your Witwa. I think you can see it much better from this angle, and it absolutely matches the Bailey photo angle. It's a definite match. But all 8 of the peaks line up. Add on the fact that the mountain, it looks just like Mont Blanc, and so it's dispositive. Yeah, I think this ends the globe. According to the globe model, with an observation height of 3,565 feet, that's with an added 5 feet for the observer, and a distance of 701 miles from the vantage point of your Witwa, a huge 49.5 miles should be hidden in the shadow of the Earth's bulge. Here are the calculations in metric. That's enough Earth curvature to hide 96 Burj Khalifas stacked on top of each other. Mont Blanc has an elevation of 15,774 feet. The top of Mont Blanc should be 46.5 miles below
His pronunciation
the
is
Earth's
killing me.
horizon. Of course, I would like all of our local UK friends on a clear day who have good cameras and are willing and able to take the beautiful trip to your Witwa and see if they can replicate the Bailey photo. And some of those other photos on the Nouvelle video that show some interesting but much further possibilities that I'm still skeptical about. But without question, under the globe model, Mont Blanc should not have been visible from your Witwa 700 miles away. The Earth is truly flat. Thanks for watching.
All right, let's get that out of here.
Yeah, my French pronunciation's not going to be better.
Why is it still playing? I hit pause.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get the heck out of here, out of this full screen.
Oh, Caleb's in the house. Come on, champ. Come in.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk flight. We're going to organise a debate about flight routes with Caleb.
Oh, we also have Don Pettit in the house as well. Let me go ahead and blow this up.
Don Pettit, can I come on camera?
You know, as they say, no face, no case. I'm just kidding. You don't have to come on camera. It's not a requirement, but it does help.
I just want to see if it really is Don Pettit.
Oh, you know it's not. Welcome to the show, Don Pettit. You're a new face, so I'll give you the floor for a moment. Or we can give you some time to marinate. Ruhiv, Jim, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. What do you guys make of that video?
Again, similar to the first Taboo Conspiracy video, the azimuths don't line up. So we can go through that if you want.
Yeah. It's all cool. We got 700 miles. We got 616. You only need. Oh, I would say, I was going to talk about this real briefly, so I'll go first. You have your Utah laser test of March 5th, 2021, 18.8 miles. The air temperature was between 30 and 34 degrees. The water was 34 degrees, so it's actually perfect, for looking across water. One of the things they noticed was, off the lake, they saw the mirror effect. It did not a ball effect or a concave effect. A convex effect. And what was fascinating, at 10 feet observation height, 5 feet for one laser, 5 feet for the other, at 18.83 miles, the geometric horizon is 3.87 miles. There should be 149 feet, 0.1977 of Earth curvature. and there was 0 because the lasers could see each other. That is the perfect 34 degrees air, 34 degrees water is the perfect time to do a laser test, any sort of test actually. And there should have been 149 feet worth of Earth curvature. And the lasers, both at 5 feet observation height, 18.83 miles apart, saw each other. The ball's dead. So obviously the 700 mile, and the 616 is actually awesome. And it's a great talking point. But this laser test on March 2021, Utah, destroys the globe, and the globe is dead. Now I know, my non-relativity, quantum mechanic, my non-scientific friend from Australia will want to talk about anything other than, that anything that's technical. He likes to stay on the surface because he's a surface type guy. You know what I mean? So it's all fine. I'll play along. But when he asks me something, I'm going to ask him about quantum mechanics. When he asks me something, I'm going to ask him about special relativity. When he asks me something, I'm going to ask him about time dilation. And if he can't answer me, I'm not going to answer his question, not because I can't, because he doesn't want to get any deeper than angles and refraction and southern flight routes, because he doesn't have to do that in order to get paid as a shill. Thanks.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and choose to believe that he believes that the quantum mechanics and all that stuff, he is, I mean, I haven't really heard you develop a solid opinion on it, but you probably do believe it because it is mainstream. Who knows? But it's not your expertise. And
Yeah.
if it's not his expertise, how can he formulate good, arguments to your very well thought out and well researched arguments, Jim?
He's had 4 years to do something other than refraction and angles, and now he's talking about southern flight routes. You know how long it takes to understand refraction, southern star routes, flight routes, and other things, that he's talked about so much over the last year since I've known him? It takes about 3 hours to do it, maybe 4 at the tops.
That's not
and
bad.
he's had 4 years to learn something about relativity, and he chooses not to. I find that very telling.
We can just assume the white flag on those points, right, Ruhif? Since it's not your
Sure.
expertise. Sick. So we win.
Yep.
On that
Yep,
one.
you win. You win by default.
What's fascinating is my expertise was not in relativity and quantum mechanics and any of that stuff until January 1st, when I actually did a New Year's resolution sheet. I've never done that before for a long time. And I wrote down 4 or 5 things January 1st of 2023 that I wanted to learn, in 2023. And one of them was relativity. And so I actually didn't know anything about relativity, and especially quantum mechanics 5 months ago. I knew nothing. And so my area of expertise was not in that. I chose to make it an area that I wanted to study. And I feel that I'm pretty good on special and general relativity, and wait till I get done with quantum mechanics. Just wait. Give me about 3 more months and just wait till I'm done with quantum mechanics. And that will be my area of expertise. And I did it all in 8 months.
Awesome.
Wow.
Sorry about that, guys. I've been talking for like the last 15 minutes and I forgot to unmute my mic.
Oh, it's all yours now.
It
It's all
happens,
yours.
Don. Sorry about that. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being so patient.
No worries. Sorry. This is my first time on like a Zoom kind of thing. I'm not really good or used to streaming or stuff like that. So please forgive me as I just listen to you guys and learn.
Your natural voice is pretty close to Don Pettit as it is. That's pretty good.
Oh, well, Jim knows me, so I'm not new to the scene. It's just I don't use video too much, right?
Don and I spent some time in the Antarctic region looking for seals, and then we found a couple of meteors, and then I think we spent two months together on the space station, the ISS. So I know Don pretty well, and we played ping pong on the ISS, and he beat me.
Nice.
Well, I did bring up that gorilla suit that one time. Don't you remember there, Jim?
Hey, I remember that you were the person that kept me laughing for almost 2 straight months. And I appreciate that.
Wow.
Anytime, anytime.
So you can actually go to the Antarctic region.
You can't even go to the Arctic region, so come on.
Nice. All right. Well, we have three. I will assume 3 true earthers in here, and we have our resident Globaroo Hiff. We're gonna need some backup for our boy here. So if there's anybody listening right now,
Come on, champ.
no, just to make it even. I don't like
That's fine.
the 3v1 gang up type situations. That's why even when I'm doing the TikToks, I try to keep it like 1v1 or maybe 1v2, but 1v3 is a bit much.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, I hear when Don and I were down in Antarctic looking for seals and meteors, he played a Glober in a couple debates that we had when it was like 35 degrees below zero and we had nothing to do. He played a Glober, so he's pretty good at it, so no problem.
Well, I can play a Glober, like I can be like non-biased.
All right, here we go, guys. Time to possibly pack it up, right?
Yep. Strap in, people.
Debunking.
Strap in. Right. So here's this 700 miles world record photo. From his observer location, we can draw lines from his observer location to each of these peaks, and we get an azimuth out of Google Earth. Cool. So we can draw a line to Jungfrau, get an azimuth, and we do that for all 8 mountains.
Sure.
And, yep, as you can see, I've done that here. So Jungfrau was at an azimuth of 125.32. Grand Combin, there we go. Azimuth of 129.54, blah, blah, blah. We've collected all the azimuths here. Cool. Each mountain has an azimuth.
So you're getting the azimuth from Google Earth?
Yep.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm following the sources.
Yep. And I guarantee this guy did as well. All right. So in PowerPoint, what I've done is, what's the word? Sort of interpolate where each mountain is across the image. So for example, we had Jungfrau 125.32, right? So 125.32 Jungfrau, that fits in between 124 and 126, right? So I've spread these azimuths out every 2 degrees such that you can identify where you're looking by its azimuth. Okay, that's how you can analyze photos, is that you have a linear scale from left to right corresponding to azimuths. I mean, I can show this with any photo you like, any long distance photo you like, and that will be a relationship, the relationship between the azimuth and the X coordinate of the pixel. All right, so excuse me. So, for example, Bardet Krins is obviously very close to 136 degrees, and on my spreadsheet, 135.9. All right, so all these headings fit on this image. Right, the killer, right, is that the foreground doesn't match. These mountains in the foreground have the wrong azimuth. So what would you guess? See that little peak that I'm pointing to there? You see that one? The highest little peak in the foreground?
I'd say 128.5.
Cool. Should we go and measure it in Google Earth?
I mean,
let's
if you
go
want, sure.
to...
I think it's pretty close.
Yeah. What'd you say, 128.5? So let's go and measure it in Google Earth. And where is it? There it is there. It's called Aranig 4. And it is 127.2. Now, just to verify that this is the correct point that we're looking at, I overlaid the screenshot like this. Let's go in there. And if you scroll, sorry, if I fade out, Right? Do you agree that's a pretty good match, right? It's
Okay.
definitely where we're looking.
Mm,
I'll do it a few times so you can sort of watch different areas of the.
I don't know, man. Maybe give it a 360.
Well, what do you mean a
I'm
360?
just messing with you. It matches pretty well.
Cool. So that green line is where we're looking, and that's 127.2. All right. So that is definitely overlapping correct, but the azimuths don't work out. I can take any other photo that you like, which have identifiable peaks, and show you that these azimuths should work out on any other photo. All right.
So what?
So that's the correct. You go.
All right, time for the Scooby-Doo moment, right?
Oh, hang on, I haven't finished the actual thing yet.
Okay, go ahead.
The other thing is that this photo, to fit in Google Earth, requires a 24-degree field of view, horizontal field of view. Okay. If you go back into here, what do you think the field of view is if you scale it via the mountains? About 14, 15 degrees, right? Doesn't match. What I'll tell you what he has done is that he's picked out Mont Blanc, all right? And then what he's done is he has drawn lines, at whatever azimuth these need to be, and whatever mountain he hits, like he's pointed in the general direction of the Alps, and there are a shitload of mountains in the Alps, and he has basically hit whatever mountain corresponds to that azimuth and declared that's the mountain, right? Some of them don't make any sense whatsoever. So La Tournette, right, and say Point Percy. If you look at La Tournette here, the width of that amount of mountain left to right equates to about 6 kilometers at that distance, right? The mountain is not 6 kilometers wide at the peak, right? That's ridiculous. The other thing is, would you say La Tournette is higher or lower than Point Percy?
I mean, obviously it's lower.
Point Percy is lower.
Which one are you looking at? Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
La Tournette appears to be higher than Point Percy. Right, they're roughly the same distance. Right, one's 3 kilometers further. All right, but what's the elevation of La Tournette? 2,351. Point Percy is like 400 meters higher than it. Like I said, he's literally fired off azimuth lines, and whatever mountain in the Alps they hit, that's what he's identified it as. None of them make any sense. Like there are mountains that we are missing, like the Matterhorn, right? Why is the Matterhorn not seen in this? Where's another one? I haven't turned them all on. But yeah, there's a stack of higher mountains that should be seen if these are actually the Alps, but are not seen. Right? Like I said, he's just literally pointed lines, and whatever mountain it happens to hit on these Alps, that's what he has identified the mountain as.
Well, it's obviously a product of refraction. So
no, they're not the mountains. It's a cloud bank. We can go back to the picture. Like, what is this? Did he not identify that? That looks like the highest mountain of all, right? What is that? Didn't identify it.
Yeah, but we got to take into consideration refraction and light and obstacles in the way of certain mountains that could be actually hiding it.
Such as
what? You basically saying, well, we can't see this mountain. Well, what if something's in the way of that mountain? That so refraction or particles in the air or in the sky that could actually be hiding that.
Okay, refraction's not going to be able to see mountains at 700 miles. We're above the surface. We're constrained to basically standard refraction.
Yeah, but we're also looking at a picture. We are looking at a picture, and we got to take into consideration compression, because we know the top 20% is very low compression. The bottom 20% is very low compression, and the middle 80% is very high compression. And it gets really, really high compression as you get more to the center of the actual picture, you have to take into consideration the camera, the software, what compression they are using for each level.
I'm not claiming that these are the mountains. This is a cloud bank.
Well, you are claiming that some mountains are missing and some mountains aren't. Why can't we see this mountain? Why can we see this or
Right.
this other mountain? And then yet you got to look at compression, you got to look at particles, you got to look at refraction, you've got to look at every single thing that is in that actual image.
Now,
Where is when I say we're missing mountains, I'm saying there are much taller mountains. Like La Tournette was 2,300 meters tall, right? It allegedly peaks up pretty high. Where is the Matterhorn, which is 2 kilometers higher than it? Why haven't they identified that? It hasn't, because they're not mountains.
So I'll be honest, I haven't had the time to really sit there and scrutinize the photo to be able to determine if what mountain should or should not be there. So this was something that I stumbled across today that I thought was something pretty cool. So I am, of course, always open-minded to it being possibly something else. However, one of the things that I feel is just an astronomical coincidence is that if it is a cloud bank, right? Why do all the peaks at the right azimuths actually match up in shape as well?
I would say only Mont Blanc matches in shape in any way. I haven't even checked it from this angle. It probably doesn't match from this angle. Let's do that, actually.
And also, you are looking at what, 100 miles, 200 miles of a length.
Allegedly 700 miles.
So that's 700 miles. So what's to say
Allegedly.
that there's 100 miles of fog that we can't actually see, and it's hiding that mountain that you were saying should be there.
I'm not saying the mountain should be there. I'm saying that there are mountains much taller than the ones that he claims to have identified, which he has not.
He
Right,
thinks that there's
that should be there, but there could be fog. There could be particles in the air that could be hiding that specific mountain, that specific day, or that specific time when they took that picture. That's what my argument is right now.
That's a perfect match, Ruhuf.
Is it?
Perfect.
Okay, what we'll do, right? What we'll do is we'll go here. And so you're saying, so from here to there, right? Can you see the rectangle I drawn?
Yep.
Yep, cool. You're saying that's something like, maybe that's the left and that's the right. Something like that?
Sure.
Okay. If that's the case, all right, this distance between here and here is about 2 kilometers. Cool.
I don't know. Are you talking like literally?
Just measuring. Yeah,
okay, sure.
just measuring on Google Earth, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's where are we? Whoops, there we go. Sorry, 2 kilometers. About 2 kilometers from that point to top of Mont Blanc. If we go in here, and that can you see the top left? It says it's 96 pixels by 30 pixels. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, and my image is 3840 pixels wide. 1 pixel. Hold on. How far is it? Anyway, that's the.
While you are doing the math, don't forget to include the atmospheric magnification.
I'm 16.246. All right, so that thing is 0.4 of a degree wide. 0.4 of a degree. 1 second. 0.4 of a degree. Oops.
By the way, I want to address the chat just real quick because they're saying, well, the photo can be replicated or it needs to be replicated. I venture to say that if the photo was replicated 3 times, a idea would start to circulate that that's just the common cloud bank formation for that area. So it'll always appear to be the mountain peaks aligning perfectly in their right shape. If it
I would
if it
love
were
someone to go
duplicated.
back and check it. Yeah, that they will go back and it won't match. Anyway, so that rectangle that I just drew on here, 7.8 kilometers wide at that distance, where we measured it as 2 kilometers. Right, so maybe you're claiming that we have to go from here, Mont Blanc, 8 kilometers away, and that's what we see.
Well, obviously, seeing 700 miles is not a normal day, so I
Yeah,
could
but
definitely.
we're not. So does that match where my cursor is? That's 8 kilometers or 7.8. I don't think that matches.
I just think that that we're doing some raw geometric assumptions, and that doesn't take into account at all compression or the way that actually just all the things that happen when you're seeing things at a great distance. And there's a lot. There's compression, there is convergence, there is refraction, there is pollution and mist. I mean, so yeah, it'd be hard to determine exactly that they're getting the sizes just a little bit wrong. I mean, nobody claimed that they were. I guess I did when I said it's absolutely perfect on that first one. So I guess that's my bad, but they were pretty close. Is obviously what was being claimed all around, and that the azimuths are being in the right place. But your claim is that the azimuths are in the right place because they worked backwards, and that it's somehow fake.
100%. Yeah, he's literally just drawn lines out and saw what mountain was close enough to that line. Like I said, La Tournette, 2,300 and something meters. And then you've got much higher mountains in the Alps. In fact, I've got a list of them. One sec.
They should have did a video. Then we could have seen if it was clouds or
yeah, you should have, yes.
definitively seen for sure. Then we could have been like, well, look, these are stationary. But hey, let's just send the people back up to the top of the mountain to do some more observations. That way we can. That way we can really just keep putting nails in the coffin over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, we can analyze a different photo to show you that this azimuth works. This idea of mapping out azimuths.
Well, it wouldn't be something. It wouldn't be something with hypothetically, 300 plus miles, would it?
The one from the top of Canigou looking across to the Alps is a great photo in infrared. I mean, the mountain shapes are clearly identifiable, and you can map. You can get 2 azimuths, right? You can point at something in the foreground on the left, something in the background on the right, and then scale right across that image. And you can pinpoint anything you like, draw a line to it in Google Maps and Google Earth, and it will be correct. Do you want to do that? That's a fun time.
Sure, you're talking about the Canigou observation?
From Canigou. So the one looking east, back over towards the Alps.
Nice. How far is the distance on that?
300 and something Ks, I think.
Nice.
I think it's 274 miles and the 400s and the kilometers, but 274 miles.
That's the world record one.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. I've got it here.
I was about to say, we can't be dealing with something 300 miles if the world record is only 270 something.
Yeah. So this is from the top of Canigou. How about we pick? Do you want to pick something on the left here? Pick a mountain on the left here, and we'll go into Google Earth and draw an azimuth.
Tella de la Cavale, but I will just also remind everybody, as if this
that one's not pointy,
as if this isn't painfully obvious, that this is much closer than what the observation that we were dealing with. So,
well, it's allegedly 700 miles, right? Allegedly. How we do Tate de Lope, this one here, because it's nice and pointy, right? We can easily get a nice pixel value for it. The Tate de Lope from the top of Canigou. Pretty sure it's from Canigou. All right, from the top of Canigou. So we're going to draw an azimuth to, actually, I'm pretty sure I have that mountain here. Tate de Lope. All right, let's go there. There it is. So the azimuth is 46.50. So let's go here. It is theta, okay, 46.50. And the pixel, so if we go in to, we'll zoom in to, where is it again? Theta Lepe.
It definitely seems like you can see those whole mountains. I'm just going to add that in. I mean.
All right. So that pixel number, if you look on the top, it says pixel number 529 in the top left. Cool. 529.
Yep.
Pixel 529. All right, now we're going to choose something in the image on the right, in the foreground, whatever that is. So that is Mont Ventoux, whatever that, I don't know, lighthouse, whatever it is. Mont Ventoux. That's it, is it?
I will let everybody know, just so that everybody knows that we're not going to be stuck doing this all night. I'm going to give the floor over to back over to Jim and Don to respond, and we can shift topics after we respond to whatever this is going to end up being. I think this is a great flat Earth proof. What you're showing here. So
that's the tower, obviously, that we're looking at, and that is at 50.15 degrees. 50.15 degrees, and that is the Mont Ventoux. And what pixel number is it? Pixel, we'll go pixel number 2741. All right, here is where the magic happens. Here's where the magic happens. Now, would you like to pick any mountain in this image?
Any of them?
A pointy one. Pointy one, preferably.
That tall one.
Pointy or easier.
Hold on, which one is this? This is Bresh Swan.
Bresh Swan, that one. Just there. All right, so if I stick my cursor on that line, the X pixel is 635. Cool. You've got Grand Ferron sitting in front of it, which is a bit icky, but anyway, that's fine. So the pixel number 636. If I stick in the pixel 636, it will spit out a heading of 46.677. Okay. I go, what's it called? Bresh Swan? Bresh. How do you spell it?
Breche.
Bresh.
There's no S.
No, Bresh. Bresh. Hang on.
And now I don't remember.
Bresh Swan. Oops. Bresh Swan. Point Swan. Is that it? Point Swan.
The problem is you're taking
Point Swan.
Aerial views and trying to calculate the same thing with a vertical view. That's the problem, is because you can't determine height on an aerial view unless you measure the actual shadow. And you know exactly the same time and date that shadow was being cast. And you know exactly where the sun was and exactly how outcast it actually was, right?
Okay. So we've calculated what the azimuth should be just based off 2 points in the image, and our calculation was 46.677. Oops, mouse away. Point Swan, 46.64. So 46.667 is about there. So about, I don't know, how many 100 meters is that off? About 100 meters off. Right, so I can pinpoint anything in the image and find it based on these azimuths being correct and having it scale across the image. Right, the fact that therefore these azimuths don't work on the 700 miles image tells you it's not the mountains.
Well, you're trying to take two different aspects and make it as one.
I don't know what that means.
you're taking an aerial view and you're taking a horizontal view and trying to claim as it is exactly the same, and it's not.
I'm taking two photos taken from a mountain to other mountains, allegedly,
Well,
and showing that the same
you are
thing doesn't
taking an
work.
aerial view and
I'm
trying to
not taking
claim it
aerial
as
view.
a horizontal view or vertical view
No,
because
I'm not.
you
So
are
hang
taking
on. What do you mean horizontal
satellite
view?
images. You are taking a satellite image and trying to claim it as the same as an image as you're looking forward. Those are not the same. You cannot calculate them as the same. You cannot calculate height as the same because you have to use compression and you have to use all the calculations accordingly.
I'm simply taking an azimuth from Canigou to this mountain. There's nothing to do with aerial photos or compression. Simply taking an azimuth. That's it. Would you like me to get down here and go like that? Is that better?
No, well, you're taking azimuth, but you were showing a aerial view and trying to say that is the same as, or say you should be able to see it because of the height of the aerial view. I should be able to see it, but on a vertical view, well, there's so many different things that could be calculated to where you couldn't see it.
Can you put into words what you think I have just demonstrated?
You have taken a satellite image and
No.
said that your vertical image or horizontal image, I should be able to see this mountain because this mountain on the aerial view is higher than the mountain that I can see on your vertical view.
Troubling. Can you repeat back to me what you think I'm trying to demonstrate?
You have shown an aerial view and said that this mountain is higher, so I should be able to see it on a vertical view.
No, troubling. Can you repeat back to me what you think I am trying to demonstrate?
So I just had a ridiculous sneeze back here and have completely lost train and was trying to get back in, admittedly.
Okay.
So
right.
See this as a great opportunity to briefly summarize.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Very briefly, I'm showing that there is a linear relationship. So let's bring up the photo. I'm showing that there's a linear relationship between azimuth and pixels in these long distance photos. So if I can make a scale across this image, right, between pixels and azimuth, I can identify anything in the photo, right? Okay. This demonstrates that this procedure works.
I think that he understands that you're showing what you're showing with that. I think what he's also showing though is that this is what he's saying is that this is a vertical view that you're showing this relationship with. And what we were just looking at.
Photo?
This is a vertical view, is what he was saying, or straight on view, however you want to say it. It's not the same as an aerial view, right? We're from the ground here.
Right. And he's taking these images from Google Earth, which Google Earth is all aerial, which is just all projection. So every single image that is on Google is projection once you get into the 3D model or vertical view. It's all guesses and algorithms.
Okay, these mountains have latitude and longitude coordinates, right? I don't need an aerial view. I don't even need Google Earth to do this, right? I can do this mathematically if you like.
Well,
nothing to do with Google Earth,
because you are sitting there arguing that we should see these points in a vertical image.
I'm not saying about visibility. I'm just demonstrating that there is a linear relationship in a photo between azimuth and pixels. Did you follow that part?
But how can you get exact pixels on an aerial view and a vertical view from different cameras and different algorithms and different software and different compressions?
The aerial view on Google Earth does not matter. Okay, it's nothing to do with this. I can do this mathematically if you like. Would you like to do it just mathematically with like have a sign?
Well, then stop trying to show Google Earth as your argument, right? because that's what you're making. So I am looking at it as you are showing these images to prove your argument. Well, these images don't prove nothing because all of Google Earth is all fake.
Okay, let's not use Google Earth. Let's not use Google Earth. Let's
you
use,
understand what I mean, it's projected, right? Because they take an aerial view and then they just use an algorithm to try to project what is actually being seen.
All right. Let's. Oh, this is in Eastings and Northings. Can I do this in?
Good evening.
There we go. Hey, Brenda. Let's do this without Google Earth, just to make you happy, Don. Okay. Canagoo.
Welcome to
Oh,
the
you're
show,
not allowed
by
to
the
use
way.
Google Earth. Hang on.
Well, I am a
Canagoo,
simpleton, so you got to make it simple for me.
Canagoo Latlong. That's the latitude of Canagoo. Longitude of Canagoo. And we want, what was the mountain called? Point Swan. Oops. Point Swan.
You know, Ruhef, it looks
Hello,
like
Brenda.
it looks like it says, "Can I go?
You can.
Can I go?
Can I go?
Canagoo.
Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Meh.
Canagoo? Can I go?" Get it?
All right.
It's a joke, Ruhef. Lighten up.
Reverse.
Yeah, just like
why is
how
that
he was
wrong?
trying to explain moon blank.
133. Hang on, what are we doing here? Why is that so
That's a
off?
pretty funny joke, Brenda. I didn't know you had a sense of humor.
Why did that not work at all? Can I go? Can I go? Sorry, can I go? Long. I'm trying to figure out why I got nothing like the right answer. Oh, Southern Hemisphere. There you go. Sorry, North. There we go. That would be East. That would be Y. Boom. Boom. Oops. So that's can I go? Can I go? One. North and East. The north and longitude. Boom. Boom. All right. There you go. 46.74. There you go. So I didn't have to use Google Earth. We happy now?
We're ecstatic.
Yeah, but what are you
Excellent.
trying to show me here?
We're ecstatic.
Can you repeat back to me, Don, what you think I'm trying to demonstrate? I've said it 4 times now. So what do you think I'm trying to demonstrate with
And
respect
I've said
to
it 4
photos?
times. You were trying to demonstrate that a vertical image does not match up to a aerial image.
Okay, that's not what I'm demonstrating. I'm demonstrating the linear relationship on a long distance photo, the linear relationship between azimuth and pixels. That's what I'm demonstrating.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
said that we should be able to see it on the vertical, just like we should
Nothing to be able
see
to
it on the
able
aerial.
to see anything. Nothing concerned with being able to see anything. I'm simply demonstrating the relationship between pixels and azimuth. That's
Did you
all.
not just sit there and say where's this other mountain? Like it's supposed to be 4,400 meters in the sky,
Right.
and we should be able to see it, right?
Right. Previous to me demonstrating this, what was I demonstrating here, Don?
You were
I've said it
demonstrating
5
that
times now.
mountain should be seen.
No.
That
What am I
4,400
demonstrating
meter
with
mountain
this
should
photo?
have been seen on the
What am I
vertical
demonstrating
image
with this
because you
photo,
took
Don?
a horizontal image,
What am
or
I
you took
demonstrating
an
with this
aerial
photo?
image. Sorry.
What am I demonstrating with this photo? Nothing to do with this 700 miles.
You
What
are
am I demonstrating with this
demonstrating
photo?
that Google Earth can make a really good 3D image of the Earth by taking
close.
aerial views. That's all
Brenda.
you are trying to show right in this.
Brenda,
video.
what was I trying to demonstrate?
Oh my goodness.
I've got vanilla ice cream, chocolate, and blueberry sauce.
Dude, nobody gets it.
Okay.
You're
I'm-
trying to demonstrate the linear relationship, right?
Between azimuths and pixels in a long distance photo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
I think Brenda brought her sense of humor
With an
today.
aerial
That's what I
image.
think.
There's no aerial image here, Don. This is not an aerial image.
Then
This
what
is
is
taken
this
from
image
Canigou.
here? Then what is this image here that you're showing me?
It's from Canigou looking across to the Alps. It's not an aerial image. The dude is on
From
Canigou.
what? Google Maps?
No, this is a photo.
Okay, see where that's where I probably misunderstood you because I thought this was from like Google Maps and you're trying to show the mountain that's not supposed to be there.
No, simply demonstrating the linear relationship between pixels and azimuth on long distance photos with like long focal lengths.
A question from
Anyway.
the chat.
So how much did you alter this image from the
Zero.
original?
Zero. It's not my image.
The first image that you showed me did not look like this.
Was it a different image?
From what I've seen, yeah. Like this does not look
So-
like the image that you showed like 20 minutes ago that we've been
Okay,
arguing.
so this,
yeah, right,
this image
there.
does not look, yeah, so that image does not look like that image.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Correct. Okay.
So where did you get this image from?
Some infrared photography guy that went up to Canigou
And what
took a massive
camera?
photo.
And what camera did he have? What camera did the
don't
other
know.
guy have?
It
Exactly,
doesn't
because you
matter.
don't know about
Doesn't matter.
compression. You do have you have no clue about software compression for each and every camera. Like every single camera that you buy has different compression rates. It has different codes that it actually creates the image.
Okay. Did I demonstrate a linear relationship between pixels and azimuth?
With the same image, absolutely not.
With this image, did I demonstrate that the process works with this image? Yes or no?
I have no clue because you've been
No.
switching back and forth from two images trying to confuse people.
Okay, maybe the audience was paying attention.
I'm
Maybe
definitely
the audience was paying attention.
I'm definitely confused.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because he's showing like two or three different images. He's like showing Google Maps. He's showing this image that's been infrared. He's showing another image that's probably like a P900, and it's like, well, they all have different compression rates. They all have different software. They all have different code. So they all write differently. They all show images differently. So you can't really make any kind of argument right now on anything because you don't have the exact same camera. You don't by taking the images or nothing. This is not a scientific experiment.
So
Thanks,
this is
Don.
simply not enough.
Well, no, it's not a scientific experiment. He's measuring.
Well, why are we arguing that he's trying to make a scientific proof that
I haven't used the word science today.
well,
I haven't used the
yeah,
word science at all.
He wouldn't
He's just
dare.
measuring,
He wouldn't
just
dare
measuring.
use that word.
I'm
Counting-
demonstrating a principle.
counting pixels on the image, or well, maybe not counting them, but
so 110/80 is exactly as the same as another 1080, right?
What?
And that's what your argument
1080p?
is. Yeah, like one 1080 image is exactly the same as another 1080 image taken by different cameras, taken by different.
Right. The camera does
My
not
God.
matter if it's a
My
long
God,
focal
please.
length.
Please
It's
learn script. Please learn software.
Okay. I'm a programmer.
Or
Right? I
actually
literally have a
not
degree in
soft-
computing
Well, yeah,
science.
it would be software because it's compression rates. Look at your cameras, and they all have different compression rates.
Okay. Any camera, any rectilinear lens that takes a long focal length shot, there will be a very close to linear relationship between azimuth and pixels.
Oh, very close. Now you've changed it to very close. But what's very
Okay.
close when
Let's
you've got a
let's
compression
continue with
rate
this then. So,
with the 40% of the image is compressed at 1,000. The top 20 is compressed at maybe 20%,
6.64.
and the bottom is compressed at another 20%. So where's your calculations to take into consideration those compression rates?
What was the pixel for it again? Fresh. Oh, that was the one that it was we couldn't see anyway. That was a bad one.
Also, those mountains being visible from this distance, again,
636.
flat Earth proof.
Really?
It
Really?
would literally be impossible to even see those under infrared.
Really? On what basis?
What is this?
Please show.
This is like 200
It's the
miles?
pull it out of my ass basis.
Yeah. Please back that up with any kind of evidence whatsoever.
What's the distance?
Well, you guys made the claim.
Oh,
It's from
dang.
Canada. Pick a mountain you think shouldn't be visible.
What is the distance that the person is taking this infrared image from?
No, Troubling said there's a claim. Troubling put a claim on the table that you shouldn't be able to see these mountains. I assume that he would already have done the calculations.
All right, fair. You got me stepping off in it before I've done the calculations.
Correct.
Fair enough. But we could do the
but-
calculations here, and I'm willing to bet.
Yes, let's do any of them. So from Canada, Canada's 2874, I think.
See, Rohit, that's why I don't think Troubling is really flat Earth.
I know.
To
He'll
be
come
honest.
around.
He'll come around.
You
We
think I'm LARPing?
We can
That's
we can
funny.
turn him. We can turn you. We can turn you.
I don't
I can
think
put a
so.
notch. I can put a notch on my keyboard.
Then I'll put a notch on my bedpost. All right, from Canada.
My
What's that one?
bedpost has 0 notches.
Oh, come on, Brenda.
I don't think that Troubling is ever going back to the dark side. Never ever.
To the where is the saying? I can't even remember it now. Never mind.
Troubling's not going to go back to the spinning space pair. Let's just say that.
Which mountain would we like to choose?
Okay, so let's do
Oh yeah, Mac distance was Pic Gaspard. That's the first one.
the furthest, shortest mountain.
Well, max distance.
Just
Pic
kidding.
Gaspard.
We can do the furthest and tallest mountain.
Pic Gaspard. Pic Gaspard. All right. Oops. That is 416.1 kilometers. Refracted hidden at 3.04 kilometers, and I think Pic Gaspard is 3,884. Yes,
And you can see the whole mountain.
That's
Case
right.
closed.
Well, you would see 800 meters of it, but there's other mountains in front of it. Yeah.
I should have picked the close one so that there couldn't be another mountain blocking it.
No, kidding, right? Like, or there couldn't be like fog or refraction or anything like that, right? Like dust in the air that could be blocking it.
There's always refraction.
But they never take those things into calculation. They just say, look, you can't see it, so it must be round.
Do you see what I'm highlighting here?
That would be a
We take into
reaffirming.
account refraction.
That'd be a reaffirming the consequence.
Well, taking into account
Would-
refraction, fog, like fog does not travel over 700 miles of land. You know there's patches of fog. Well, one day it might be foggy in that 50 miles where that mountain is, right?
Right. So when you
So
analyzed
it
it, I
could
assume
be
you took
hidden.
into account fog. Did you take into account fog when you analyzed this photo?
Well,
any
I
photo?
looked at it and I couldn't see it because I was not the one that took it. This is your argument, not mine. See, now you're
Okay.
trying to strawman me.
Okay. So when you can analyze a photo and take into account fog, I will listen to your objections.
So this
You
says
mean
the
an
horizon.
infrared one?
Okay.
I was going to say this says the refracted horizon is 203 kilometers. Wouldn't that mean that nothing
Yes.
can be seen past 203 kilometers because that's the
No.
horizon?
The horizon just means the point at which things beyond that start to disappear from
Disappear.
bottom up.
No, it disappears. The horizon,
doesn't
everything
disappear.
disappears from the horizon because that is the
Jesus
horizon.
Christ.
Everything but the sky disappears from the horizon.
Well, I don't even know how to respond to that, honestly.
Would that
I
not be?
don't. Like,
Would that not be the case though? If it's on the ground, it would have been disappeared by the horizon. By
yeah,
definition.
if it's on the ground, right? But we have a 3.8 kilometer mountain, right? So it's
But
taller.
that's still the ground. So it
It's
would
3.8
disappear on the
kilometers
horizon no matter what you
of-
would want to say because it's part of the ground.
Brenda, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't know
Sorry.
what to add. I don't know what to add to that. Spatial reasoning is my number one thesis on explaining flat
Hang on,
Earth.
down here. Right, here's the observer, right, up on the mountain. This is the top of Canigou. He's drawn the line of sight, hits the horizon, grazes the horizon, and continues on to Pic Gaspard, which is this thing. Okay? Do you understand how this...
So you think there's a 3-kilometer bulge? Is that what that
there's
refracted
3 kilometers hidden. 3 kilometers hidden.
in the shadow
No,
of the
but
bulge?
you're trying
Yeah,
to say
that's
there's
a
a
Sagittarius.
3-kilometer bulge, or
That's a-
even
no.
like look at the mountains. Like, why can we see all the mountains if there's a horizon? Then we would be able to see the absolute
Because-
highest mountain, and then everything else would look flat to us because of the compression rate.
How long have you
I
been in
don't
this
understand
debate
that.
for, Don? Like, honestly,
What's
don't
that?
get
Sorry?
it. How long have you been in this debate? Do you understand the geometry on the screen? That something is well beyond the horizon, and because of that, some of it is hidden by the Earth curve.
Yeah, and if
Earth
it's tall
curve.
enough, if it's
Oh my
tall
God.
enough, if it's tall enough, you can see the parts that are above the horizon, right?
Yeah, like how is that not trivial?
Spatial reasoning, Ruhed.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
No?
Hey, Brenda, do you have
No,
another
troubling
trick
or
question?
Jim?
Absolutely not.
Troubling or Jim? Are you going to say anything here?
So I agree in the 2-dimensional space. You know that this definitely, or sorry, even in the 3-dimensional space, of course, without taking in any refraction or any of that good stuff. The standard mainstream claim, right, that the bulge, that is how it would work. Obviously, if there was something tall enough, you should be able to see it over the bulge at some point. You know, if it's massive. But again, the point that we started off with was that we could see like the whole mountain, like all the way up to the mountain, and then
Well,
everything is kind of compressed because of the compression of the camera.
I don't think you can see the whole mountain.
No.
How are you coming to that determination? I can demonstrate that you're not. That's fun.
Because we
I mean-
don't live in a 3-dimensional world. We
Yes,
live
we
in
do.
a no, we do not. It's 5 feet in
What?
front of us. We live in a 3D world. Anything up more than 5 or 10 feet from us, it's a 2D world.
Wow.
Because that's all we
no,
see
Jim.
in 2 dimension
Don,
is
that's
10
not how it
feet in front of
works.
us is all we see is 2D. We do not see 3D more than 10 feet in front of us.
It's still 3D though, right?
Well, you can think it's 3D
I mean-
because
No, Don.
because
Don, if I my
all-
car, how far away does it turn to 2D?
at least 10
know-
feet, at least 10 or 15
Right.
feet.
So if my
maybe,
car is 50 feet away, right, I can still
then
get
it's
in it. It isn't.
2D.
You
No,
know
it's,
what he
it's
means.
No, I
still
guarantee
holding.
you can't get in it if it's 50 feet away unless you walk 50 feet.
Well, there,
at
I
one
can
point
see
in time.
people getting into it and leaving it, right?
It's not literally
I
2-dimensional.
really
Ron.
don't know.
You know what he
Well,
means.
Don is saying it's literally
It
2D.
we're talking about perspective. It
No, he's
appears
not-
2D.
he's not
Yes,
troubling.
no. I am talking about perspective here
This is
because
obvious.
within 10 feet, everything's 3D. After 10 feet, everything's 2D.
Well,
So
it
are we living
appears
in a
to be.
3D world, or well, everything appears to be 3D to me in it
No,
with
no,
within
they
the
actually
first 10
are
feet.
3D, right?
Well,
They
how
would
can
just
you
appear.
argue that when everything appears to be 2D after 10 feet?
That's just how it appears, Don.
Well,
As
everything
well.
appears to me as 3D within the first 10 feet. It appears to be 3D. It could be
Because
4D.
it is 3D.
No, it's absolutely
Yes.
not.
We don't have to go in circles over it. Let's go.
But then we're getting into the argument of simulation.
Okay.
I don't understand how that connects, but I don't know.
It's kind of like rendering. He's relating it to the way things render. I think it might just be how our mind processes information, not necessarily a real simulation. But I guess that is technically a topic for the true Earth debate,
Well,
right? Or is
if-
the true
if
Earth a
Bob-
simulation?
If Bob sees the car 50 feet away and it appears 2D to him, but Alice is right next to the car, it appears 3D to her.
Yeah, it can work in a video game too. We have like
No, but-
different renderings for different characters in video games. So I mean,
So it can't be 2D and 3D at the same time, though, can it?
I mean, perspective wise,
Well,
it can be.
under two different perspectives, yes, it can.
Literally,
It's
it cannot.
it's
Literally, it exists
No,
in
it
3D.
because that
can't.
I'm looking at it. Does that make the argument that it is 3D, or because somebody else is looking at
No.
it, does that
Uh,
make the argument
no,
that it's 2D? Neither
it can't
does,
be.
right?
It can't be 2D and 3D at the same time. It can appear, perceptually to Bob as though it's 2D, right? But it isn't, because Alice is standing next to the car and it is 3D.
Well, then
Hold on. Echo.
all we can do is perceptualize. So, like, what I see, somebody else right beside me sees totally different. That's why
Spatial
we have
reasoning, Ruhev.
that's
Spatial
why we
reasoning.
have people that have color correcting glasses and stuff like that, right? Like, just
Yes.
because it's your own perception doesn't mean it's actual reality.
Spatial reasoning, Ruhev. Spatial reasoning.
Yeah. I'm a bit shocked.
Okay,
we
so
want to see.
you wanted to
we want to
prove-
see how low the mountains go.
Yeah, let's prove that we're not seeing the full mountains that we're obviously clearly seeing here in front of us.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from Grand Ferrand over to maybe that one, and that's 429 pixels. It says up the top. So Grand Ferrand to Roc de Garnessier. Let's draw. Oh, I thought it was at Grand Ferrand. And Grand Ferrand. Grand Ferrand.
While you're doing this, I will also say that if you're doing it by the whole azimuth calculation thing, I will say that you did show us something with the left to right azimuths. You did not show us anything with like vertical, with it matching vertically, and that I think would be important because there's more.
Right.
There's obviously going to be compression and things like.
You
that
remember
happen.
that vertical is altitude, and the angle from due north to the object is azimuth, right?
Which one's which here? Sorry.
That's. I just wanted
Roc
to
de Garnessier.
get clear on that.
Well, we can't talk vertical, horizontal, and stuff like that because we're talking about 2D images here. So we got to talk about
That's right.
either
Okay.
vertical, horizontal, which is the same thing, or aerial, which is a top,
Yeah, if I wanted
or topographic, right?
if I wanted to represent the depth in a two-dimensional picture, I'd have to go vertical. So it'd be this way.
Huh?
If I'm looking at a
Yeah.
two-dimensional image like I am on my screen, then if I'm looking at something that's further out, then that relationship is a vertical relationship, and that's where the compression would be happening as well. That's one of the things that's kind of pivotal to this conversation.
See, I'm not a photographer, and I'm not really clear on compression in photographic images.
So
I'm not clear about that, but yeah.
So
I don't know.
what you do is there's 100% of the image, 60% of the image in the middle is probably about 95% compressed.
Is that due to the f-stop?
That's just due to their software or how they actually take the image or how they actually write the software. And it's dependent on the actual camera maker or the actual, like, you can get.
I thought it was a lens. I thought it was a lens thing.
It's not really lens, it's more software based. Like you get digital images nowadays, like back then, like in the early 1900s or the mid 1900s, it was lens, but now it's more digital and it's software based. So it's the software, so you have to read the software to see how compressed each pixel is.
Okay, if you can demonstrate that what I'm about to do, if you can demonstrate that this does not apply for photos, then we can talk about it. But what I'm about to show you is where the base of these mountains are. All right, so I've drawn a line between Grand Ferrand and Roc de Garnessier, right?
Yes.
And looking across, so perpendicular to my line of sight, it's 4.5 kilometers. 4.5 kilometers, okay? 4.5 kilometers from left to right. It's 4.5 kilometers between Grand Ferrand and Roc de Garnessier over here. That's 4.5 kilometers. Correct?
Okay.
Yep. So how much is, or Roc de Garnessier is, how high is that actually? I think it's 2,400, 2,384. Okay, so if that, let's draw a line so people in the audience can see it.
I just think it's crazy that you guys challenge the expertise of an ex-astronaut.
Valid. Hang on. So let's, it's in fucking grayscale. Fuck that.
This whole time, just to let everybody know, an embarrassing moment, but still pretty funny, so I'll share it. I thought that Don Pettit was actually the singer.
The singer. Who is that?
Oh man, Tom
What are we
Pettit.
doing?
Tom Pettit.
Oh,
Yes.
Tom Pettit.
Yes.
So as I understand it, compression isn't a software thing. It's a lens thing when you
There we
use
go.
a zoom lens.
No, it's
right?
a software thing in digital.
No,
Hang
no,
on.
it's not.
So from there
It
to
is.
there.
It's actually both.
All right. So we worked out that was 4.5 kilometers. Right. Whoops, hang on. Got the number in my head now. 2384 500. So the height of this Roc de Garnessier is about half of this, right? So this was 4.5 kilometers, and the height of this mountain, Roc de Garnessier, was 2,400. So it's a little bit over half the height. So if I draw that from here, roughly half the height. Where's my counter? I don't have the counter going. That sucks.
Compression.
Well, demonstrate that exists. Please demonstrate that it exists. But there's the base of that mountain in the ocean.
So are they vertically aligned?
Is what
Yeah.
vertically aligned?
The two mountains that you're trying to represent right now.
I'm just interested in where the base, so where is 0 meters above sea level?
Yeah,
Where
but
is
I'm
that for this
saying
mountain?
how far is the one mountain to the camera than the other mountain to the camera?
Oh, they're
Doesn't-
both 300 and something. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We just went onto Google Earth and we said
No,
that's
it
4.5
does
Ks.
matter. So the other mountain is how far away from the one mountain that you're trying to measure?
This one, that's 8 kilometers that way. But we
So
want to
they're
measure it perpendicular, right?
8 kilometers further away, right?
Approximately, yeah, yep.
So have you taken into consideration the compression from 8 kilometers for a camera?
Please demonstrate that applies to these photos. You're just bringing up random shit and throwing it at the wall.
No, I'm not.
Demonstrate
I am
it.
saying there is a mountain that is 8 kilometers away. That mountain is not going to be the exact same height that it should be, that you're trying to argue with the other
Demonstrate it.
mountain, because the fact
Demonstrate it.
one mountain is going to look a little bit smaller because it's further away from the shorter mountain.
Demonstrate it. I've demonstrated that
I
this
don't need
distance.
to demonstrate
Of course you don't.
This is
Correct.
This is your
There you go.
argument. You need to demonstrate to me whenever I bring out an argument. This is your argument. So you need to prove to me that 8 kilometers does not mean nothing when
But you
are
made a
trying to
rebuttal.
show
You made a
this.
rebuttal, and I'm asking you to demonstrate that your rebuttal holds any weight whatsoever. You're just talking shit.
You are trying to say distance. So you take a car that's 8 kilometers away from me and take another car that's 16 kilometers away from me. What car looks smaller?
Demonstrate what you said about compression
I
is
just
applicable
did with a
to
visual
these photos.
I just made a visual argument. Take one car,
Okay.
put it 8 kilometers away from me. Take another car, put it 16 kilometers away from me. Which one looks smaller?
Yeah, the 16-kilometer
They're
one will
both
be
the
smaller.
same
right?
size, exactly. So the
Right.
mountain that
Do you
are
think I don't understand that?
Bonjour is going to look smaller than the one that's 8 kilometers in front of it.
Right. Do you think I don't understand that? That
No,
things get
but
further away, they look smaller?
you are trying to hide that.
No.
or
Again,
hide that
you're
card.
talking utter shite. Please demonstrate something. Demonstrate that whatever you say is wrong with my analysis is applicable.
I've just proved it because one
No, you've
mountain is
talked
8
shit. You haven't
kilometers
shown
north
anything.
of the other one. You've just shown that one mountain is 8 kilometers north of the other one. So therefore, the mountain that's supposed to be smaller looks a lot smaller than the mountain that is or the mountain that's actually larger looks smaller than the smaller mountain because it's 8 miles north of the smaller mountain.
Okay. When you demonstrate it, I will listen to you.
I just demonstrated it in
No,
my own
you
verbal
spoke.
argument.
You spoke. You spoke. When you demonstrate it, I'll listen.
He
And
wants
it's
to
pretty
see-
amazing that I can make or that I can prove a scientific argument by just speaking. I don't even need to prove it.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know that screen sharing is available, and it does
Oh,
help.
should I stop?
No, you're fine. Well, yeah, if we're done with this thing, then yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, I've
So
demonstrated
yeah,
what I need to. So
my hands are kind of tied with the visual demonstrations when I'm doing this because of obvious reasons. By the way, welcome, Zoom user, whoever that is. Thank you for joining the show. But I would say that there is evidence of compression. I just have to go and find it. And if you want, I can send that to you, Ruhif, if you're genuinely looking for it.
Compression is a lens effect, and there is software compression, but that's a different thing. That's the software making the file smaller. But
Yeah,
there's such a
Is that
thing
what it
as
means?
lens.
does it mean
I
like
don't-
JPEG compression? What do you mean
I
by
think-
compression then?
I think he's getting the two mixed up.
no.
What do you mean by
I am
compression?
absolutely not. There is lens compression, but we all know about lens compression, and we take that into consideration with all the lenses that are made. We all know that right from when lenses started being made. But there is software compression to where it actually, like a JPEG or a GIF or
Yes,
whatever,
yes.
it
Yeah, we know
compresses
that.
it,
We know
and
that, but
then
How is
but
that relevant?
every single piece of camera is different. Like every single camera maker is different in their compression rates. Like
I
even
don't- if they make a
even if they
JPEG,
make
it's
a
the
JPEG,
same.
no, it is not. It is absolutely not the same. Like they will make it into a JPEG format, but the compression rate is totally different.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then see, because
Let's say that that's true. Let's say that that's true. Let's grant you that. The compressing the file size is not what we were discussing.
Yeah, we agree that's irrelevant, right? JPEG or whatever.
well, it's
how is that
not
at all relevant?
irrelevant because you got to the camera actually compresses it into its file format, which cameras do not usually format it into a JPEG. It usually formats into an MP4 or some
It's a video
kind of,
format.
Usually
MP4
it's
is a
raw.
fucking video format, dude.
Yeah,
raw,
it's a
usually.
raw format usually.
right. Well, it
And-
usually formats into something that they've written, their code.
Yes, they have.
And
They often
then
have proprietary. They have
and then-
proprietary
You
raw
said
formats. Yeah.
MP4. You said MP4. For a
Well,
photo.
MP4,
Dude.
whatever. It
No,
was
they don't.
hypothetical. Like I'm talking hypothetical right now because I'm not.
Talking at your
See,
ass.
because this is what you're trying to do. You're trying.
Well,
to
if they take
straw
video,
man
if
it,
they
right?
take a lot of cameras can take video, so they might compress it into MP. I don't know what
different raw
format.
different raw
But-
formats, but it's dependent on the actual camera maker.
Camera maker, yes, but
and then
right,
you put
that
it,
has
and
nothing to
then,
do with what Ruhif was talking about, though.
and then you
That's
put
just-
it
that's
onto
just for
your computer,
Don,
which
it's just for
also
storage. It's just
compresses it.
yeah, but
that's
Don,
a
it's just to
compression.
make it file smaller, so you can put more
Right.
into the
But guess
RAM.
what happens when a file gets smaller? It takes out pixels. That's
Well,
what
there are
happens in
Are we
lossless-
arguing
compression.
over a pixel? Are we
That's
arguing
what
over a pixel
happens
here?
in compressions.
Some
It
formats
takes
are
out
lossless,
data.
though, Don. Some
The-
formats like TIFF is lossless.
And raw, obviously.
So
is
depending on, and the only reason why I know about this is because I have a Galaxy S22, and one of the features that they bragged about was like how good its zoom was and focus was for a phone camera. And I fully can see what Don's talking about, how you can get compression in an actual like while you're actually taking the picture, depending on the software that's being used to actually focus in, right? If you're focusing in on something in the distance, then it's going to compress a lot more
That's
garbage.
lens compression. That's different than file format.
No, it's not
compression.
lens compression. It's software compression because it's your camera that's actually
No, there
compressing
is an
that image.
there is an actual compression of the image due to the lenses
So-
and the f-stop of the lens.
Yes,
Well,
that
that's
is.
thing.
just
but-
mechanical, though. That's mechanical.
Yes, and what
well,
we're saying
optical.
is
It's optical. Yes.
and what we're saying is that both exist. Is that the camera lensing
Yes.
compression does exist, and also the software compression while you're actually rendering and focusing on things in the distance. That's
If you
something that actually
choose that,
happens.
but you can choose in the settings to save in a raw format or compress to JPEG or
And-
TIFF or whatever.
and
So if
then
you
when-
compress
no,
to raw format, that's going to be a lossless file format.
No, it's not lossless.
Yes, it is.
Whatever you want to believe,
Raw is.
nothing is lossless. Because of the
What?
fact the minute you take it from your camera, you put it on your computer, you convert it to a TIFF, you convert it to a GIF, you convert it to a
Fuck!
JPEG.
Yeah, well,
You're-
GIF would
If
be
you
you
convert
lost.
it
are
to JPEG, that's
losing-
lossy.
You are losing the actual image itself. It's proven.
Right, the raw image is lossless. When you
The
convert
raw
it to a
image
JPEG,
is lossless. But if you take a raw image from a camera and then turn it into a TIFF, you are losing
Yes, well,
No,
parts
not
of the
TIFF.
image from.
TIFF's lossless as well.
if you
no,
compress
it's
raw into
lossless to
JPEG,
itself.
Don,
It's lossless to itself.
lossless
TIFF is
is
lossless.
what does that mean?
So if you take a camera that formats its raw images in TIFF,
Be right back. David Silva.
then you will not be able to lose any image
Right.
quality.
And if I take it from the camera to my computer and save it in the raw format, I have not lost anything.
Right, but you cannot post it
There we
anywhere
go.
because
There we
go.
you
Post
have
it.
to convert it. You have to convert it to a format that web
No,
pages will accept.
Don, you don't
I don't have to post it on the web, Don. There are image
are
viewers
Well,
that can view.
You are
Photoshop-
showing, well, Glenn,
Photo-
you
Don-
are
Don,
showing
just-
me images that are on the web. So they have to be in like JPEG. They have
Don't
to be
have to
in.
be.
download.
This is a
Well,
PNG
then
link.
what
Is it a PNG?
then
Oh,
what
that's a
format
JPEG.
are they in?
I
PNGs
think
are
the originals are
are-
PNG.
PNGs are
Well,
lossless, aren't they? I thought they
No,
were.
PNG is not lossless. When
PNG
you
is
convert it,
lossless.
Yeah, it is.
when you
PNG
convert
is
it
lossless.
from another image from one format to another, there's always loss.
Hey
Always.
Siri, is PNG a lossless format? Come on, Siri.
Siri,
Oh,
you
it's
pissed her
fucking-
off.
PNG is a lossless format. Google it. Fuck.
From what format?
What? From what format? PNG is a lossless format.
No, you cannot have a lossless format from one file to another. You cannot. If you are compressing one image to another, there's always loss.
No, PNG and TIFF and RAW and BMP are lossless formats. JPEG, anything JPEG or MPEG or MP4 is lossy. Right? They do a fast Fourier transform over
And-
squares of the image.
Yeah,
If
and
you take
Photoshop
an
can handle
image from a
Photoshop can
PNG
handle raw images, Don.
This is insane. Like you're just talking out your ass.
No, actually, I'm not. I am actually a coder,
actually
so
are.
I actually do know what
Oh.
I'm talking about.
Okay, clearly not. Ask Google. Is TIFF lossless? Oh, sorry, we agree. TIFF
Ask-
lossless. It's
ask-
PNG.
Ask Bard, and then also ask ChatGPT and see if
There
they
we go. PNG lossless. Both PNG and TIFF files benefit from lossless compression, meaning that no matter how often you save, open, or resize them, they'll maintain their quality.
As a PNG or TIFF.
Right. So it's a lossless
Right.
format.
So
correct? This is
a
insane.
camera does not save in PNG or TIFF.
Right.
Yes,
Save
it
in RAW,
does.
usually.
No.
We can.
No.
But yeah, they're
Well,
usually
yeah, it
raw,
can.
right?
it
Yeah,
you
can.
usually
can.
raw. You
But
want to keep a
it's-
copy if it's a good photo, you want to keep a copy as raw.
Exactly. So when you transfer it from RAW to a TIFF or a PNG, there's loss in there.
No, there's not. No, there's not.
There
You
is
can
if it's a
resize a
JPEG.
PNG, there's no loss. You can resize a TIFF, there's no loss. But if you
Right.
resize a RAW to a PNG, there's loss. If you
No, there's
resize
not.
a
No, there's not.
So-
camera RAW to a
Shit.
TIFF, there's
Oh,
loss.
this is-
There's
let's
What,
move on.
Don, where
Let's
did
move
you
on.
get this? Where did you get this idea from, Don?
Let's move on. Come on.
What's the relevance? Do we even
Common
know if this is a
sense.
Yeah,
raw
let's
picture
move on.
or not? I mean,
Let's
we'd
move
have
on.
to then go and determine if the picture's raw, even if what you guys were saying was true. So it's like, I don't know enough about the software of photography to know if there's any loss or not. But in any case, we
The
have
thing that Ruhef was showing was that he did some estimates as to the size of the mountain, and he showed that the base of the mountain was below the water, and
Way
therefore
yeah, but
this shows that there must be curvature. That was the subject of what we were doing.
right, and we were arguing that compression can cause that. So
Right.
Yeah, but
Demonstrate.
you have to show that.
Demonstrate.
again, compression is well, I don't want to go back into the circle. We're about to step right into it.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and move on. Zoom user, thank you for joining us. Who
Wow.
has decided to grace us with their presence?
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't say my name. My name's Luke, and I have a few questions for the flat earthers.
Awesome, Luke. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
All right. First of all, can someone pull up an image of the flat earth model before, just to make this easier?
You want that azimuth
Can
declination
someone
thing?
pull up an actual image of the globe Earth?
No,
Sure.
flat earth model. But
Yeah,
it's fine.
but
It didn't
you
need to.
have asked for us to pull up a flat Earth model, but can you pull up an actual globe Earth model that is actual
He's just
depiction
asking
of
for an
the real
AE
Earth?
map, right?
There we go. There you go. That's
We got to
perfect.
start
Perfect.
the question
Oh,
Just
somewhere,
asking
right?
for an AE
sorry.
map.
That's the flat Earth model.
There you go.
That is
Perfect.
that is the
Is
model.
it?
That the flat Earth of the flat
Well,
Earth.
to what some believe, yes. There's many
No,
debates on
no.
whether or not things are accurate or whatever.
Yeah,
I
but
think it.
if
I
you
think
go,
it might be.
All right. So in this picture, if I'm in the north hemisphere and I'm looking towards the North Pole, the stars in the night sky, they spin counterclockwise. But if I'm in the southern hemisphere and I'm looking at the South Pole, they spin clockwise. On a flat Earth on this model, how is this possible?
I
I'll
love it.
take that if you don't mind.
Go for it, Jim.
Go
You've
for
been
it.
actually pretty quiet.
If we live on some sort of a dome or protection above us, and you have a sidereal rotation of the sky, you will see in the northern latitudes, you will have a counterclockwise around Polaris. You will have at the equator a straight east-west, and then in the south it will go clockwise. That is if we live on a dome. The only thing I'll say to your question is this: if you think, and every year the sky resets above us, it actually resets above us. So if you think that you can travel at 30 kilometers per second or 66,000 miles per hour in an elliptical orbit and 450,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way galaxy, and at the same time travel at 1.3 million miles per hour throughout an ever-expanding universe, and think you can understand what your globe, the star trails would look like, is insane. It is absolutely insane. It would not reset every single year. It wouldn't be the same as we've seen for the last 200 years. So if you want to live in your fairy tale, go ahead. But we have some sort of a design. If you want to use the dome, where it makes perfect sense that it is counterclockwise around Polaris, straight east-west at the equator, and then clockwise at the south. 90% of people live in the northern latitudes, 10% live in the southern latitudes. Where do you live at,
North.
Luke? Where do you live, Luke?
North.
Okay, so you live north, and so you are taking this. Do you believe that Sigma Ontantis exists?
I'm not familiar with that it is, but sure.
Well, Sigma Antantis is your southern pole star.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, so having knowing that, and you live in the northern latitudes, do you believe the Sigma Antantis exists?
Yeah,
Have you seen it?
no, because the Earth is blocking it.
And so you assume that it exists because why?
Because we have photo documented images or whatever of
Would
the
you like me to
south.
take a photo of it, Jim? I'll take a photo
Huh?
of it for you if you like. I'll take a photo of Sigma Antantis if you like.
I would love that. That would be so fantastic. Now make sure it's not the Southern Cross, Ruhef. Make sure it's not the Southern Cross. Let me ask Luke this question, because obviously he is dealing with the most surface of the globe, which is counterclockwise to the north, clockwise in the south, and he lives in the north, and 10% of people live in the south. And he's going, well, we have images. Images are not pictures. Images is not reality. Images are not video. So, Luke, at the most basic level for a scientist, which, hopefully you believe in science. Science hopefully believes, tells you live on a ball. What scientist ever has told you that we, through an experiment, has told you that we are moving at 30 kilometers per second in an elliptical orbit around the sun, or 66,600 miles per hour? Because the whole 66,600 miles per hour elliptical orbit, 30 kilometers per second, is heliocentrism. It's around the sun. What experiment ever done by a scientist proves that we're going at 30 kilometers per second around the sun?
There's no experiment to prove this other than just simple observation.
I actually
And
have
earlier
something.
you said that it doesn't make sense that we're moving thousands of miles an hour throughout the Milky Way around our own sun.
Luke,
And
before you move on points, I just want to say on the particular southern crux issue, we have a comment from FE Nation. I have a picture of the Southern Cross from Marathon, Florida.
Good for him.
Should be impossible on a sphere, right?
Incorrect.
See, I haven't
Southern
seen the
Cross is
picture.
not the Southern Celestial Pole.
We never said that, Ruhef. That you are defending your ball, and you're getting very defensive. Shame on you, Ruhef, because you think you live on a spinning space ball and you should be on the offense instead of playing defense.
How is it
I'll go on the offense.
How is it logically possible to have 2 points of rotation on a flat plane?
You don't have
not.
to see, Brenda, you didn't listen to anything I said, and I think I said it twice. Brenda, you are a lackey for Loon McToon. So it's all fine, Brenda. I said it twice, and you didn't listen either time, because you may be the worst of the spinning space ball believers.
Can you answer the
question? I answered it twice. You want me to do it a third time?
No, I want you to model it. Show me. Like, don't just fucking dribble. Show me.
Hey, Ruhif, can you conceptualize anything in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay, conceptualize this. And I know you can't, because you're a confirmed atheist. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay, very good.
That's two of us.
If we have some sort of protection or dome around us, and we have a sidereal rotation of the sky moving above us, you in the northern latitudes will get a counterclockwise around Polaris. You will get an east-west at the equator, and you will get a clockwise on the south. If you can't conceptualize that, I can't help you. Now, if we get to the place,
you can model it.
If we get to the place where I can show that minute 12 seconds, I'm going to do this. I'm going to send it. I can't send it now. I know Troubling has asked me to send some short videos to him. I didn't send this one to him. I apologize. It's a minute 12 seconds. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I know. I should have sent. I'll send it to you tomorrow or tonight. And so next time we gather, I can show it to you, and then you can show it if you want to. It's all up to you. But it's the perfect conception, if you can't conceptualize in your mind, on a video that you'll ever see about what could be happening. But if you can't conceptualize it, Ruhif, that's not my fault. But next time we gather,
how high above the North Pole is Polaris, by the way?
How high? Okay. Hey, you know what?
How in the hell would
Brenda?
we know that?
Hey, you know what, Brenda? If I have a spouse who's cheating on me and continues to cheat on me, and everybody sees it, I see it, I don't have to wait to get another spouse before I leave the cheating spouse, because the cheating spouse is cheating on me. I don't have to get a new one before I leave that spouse. I don't have to leave your ball. I don't have to leave your Brenda. I don't have to leave your ball, your cheating ball, until I find it, something that satisfies everybody. All I got to do is leave your cheating ball. So when you say how high, is Polaris above? How high is Polaris on your imaginary?
I asked first, dude.
Brenda,
I asked first.
Brenda,
I did.
Brenda,
I got dibs. I got dibs. I got dibs.
Brenda, nobody knows. Brenda, in your spinning space ball, Brenda,
as well.
in your spinning, Brenda,
you both have to chill.
For 40 minutes, bro.
Everybody has to chill when I say to chill.
Brenda, you talked for 40 minutes in a row last week. I'm going to tell you right now, how far is Polaris in your imaginary spinning space ball? How far is Polaris away from your spinning space ball? I asked you
first. I'm not answering until you tell me.
I told you, Brenda, do you have hearing problems? I told you we don't know. Brenda, do you have hearing problems? Shouldn't it be easy to figure out?
Shouldn't it be easy to triangulate?
Do you have hearing problems?
You just need
Brenda?
You just need the baseline and the angle. That's all
Brenda.
You need.
Brenda, how far?
That's
Brenda,
all you need.
How far is Polaris away in your spinning space ball? Don't look it up. Don't Google it. Tell me. Tell me how far it is. Don't Google it, guys. Don't Google it. How far away?
I'm muted because I was laughing too hard.
400 light years, Jim. Now, answer the question.
Without Googling it, how far is your Polaris away in your spinning space ball?
400 light years. Now answer your side.
No, it was 434 light years in 1995. It is now 323 light years away. And you know what, Ruhif? It changes every single year.
Well, that's because because it's an estimate. It's not accurate. They don't have it down to the mile.
Oh, I thought they could use something to do that.
Yes, you can get it, but you can't get it down to like the millimeter or something like that.
No, hey, Brenda, who said millimeter? Come within a light year. Hey, Brenda, how far is a light year?
300,000 kilometers.
A light year is 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a second.
8 trillion miles, Brenda.
Good. Can you tell me how high? Can you tell me how high Polaris is?
We don't know, Brenda. Brenda, we don't.
But you could measure it easily.
We don't.
It should be a simple trigonometric.
We have ideas. We have ideas about where we are as far as under our dome, but it is not. We're not going to go out and say it. We're not going to go out and say 434 trillion miles, 323 trillion miles, and it changes every single year. We don't play your game, Brenda.
If the dome is rotating, why aren't the stars at the horizon moving horizontally?
They move in a circular around the dome.
If it's a dome that's rotating, the stars at the horizon should be moving horizontally.
Horizontal? What does that? Something that is the only thing that moves straight east to west is at the equator. Brenda, are you that dense? Are you that dense? Brenda, are you dense?
If it's a dome and it's rotating, the stars that are attached at the rim, which is the upside dome, should be moving laterally parallel to the horizon.
Does Brenda say that?
Just take a salad bowl, flip it upside down and rotate it. The edge is rotating parallel
Brenda,
to the table.
Brenda, I don't have to wait to get a new spouse that's not cheating on me to get rid of the cheating spouse. Would you agree with that?
Just answer the question for once.
No, I don't have
because
to
you
answer
can't.
Brenda,
It's
Brenda,
true.
we are
We
not
don't know.
allowed to go within 500 miles of the North Pole because of the.
I can see them.
Listen to me.
People go to the North Pole all the
All right.
time.
Brenda, stop
Guys,
interrupting me.
please. Both of you
We
guys
go
stop
to-
Interrupt
yelling.
me, Brenda.
I'm from Minnesota. We had
Stop
people
interrupting
from
me,
Minnesota
Brenda.
would take dog sleds to the North Pole all the time.
Brenda, you cannot go within 500 miles of the North Pole. It was as
not
of
true.
1957. It is true, Brenda.
No.
and it was.
I'm
it was
from
updated
Minnesota.
in
We had guys.
1988. No,
We had
Brenda,
guys
you
would take their
cannot go,
dogs
Brenda.
and dog sled and go to the
Brenda,
North Pole all the time.
Brenda, you can say it, but you can't prove it. Am I correct?
You could look it up in
Brenda.
newspaper records.
No, Brenda,
right?
you can
We had
say
guys
it, but you
here.
can't prove it,
we had
Brenda.
explorers here who would take trips to the North Pole all the time. Back in the 70s.
Brenda, you can say it, but you can't prove it. Am I correct?
If you reject
No.
Brenda's personal testimony, that's fine.
Personal
Yes, it's my personal testimony. I was alive.
Testimony.
I was
Oh, my
alive,
God.
and in the newspapers, on the radio, and on WCCO in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah.
They would talk to the guy from Brainerd, who
Sure.
had
Okay.
a team of dogs, and he would take some other people, and they would go up north and go to the North Pole.
Let me guess. Nothing but snow and ice, a frozen hell.
Well, there's
It's
danger.
not land.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
There's no hills.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there were crevasses that were dangerous. They had to
In
cross
in
those.
1957, they came up with an early warning system, which basically said you cannot go to the North Pole. They re-updated it. They
That's not
updated
true.
it in
People go there all the
1988.
time.
It is true, Brenda.
There are
Brenda, you
scientists
don't
up there,
live
right?
on a
Probably right.
Brenda,
Well, not right
you
now.
don't live on a spinning
So-
space ball in the vacuum of outer space, Brenda.
Where's the sun go at night?
Around.
Brenda, if
Where does
I
it go?
have a spouse
Does it go
who
night night?
cheats
Does
on
it go through the underworld?
Brenda,
Does Queen Nut swallow it at
hey
night?
Brenda, if you're gonna start getting weird on me, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna
That's
stop
just-
with the
it's
conversation.
Egyptian. That's Egyptian
Brenda,
mythology. That's
Brenda.
Egyptian mythology.
Hey Brenda,
Swallowing
dial
nut.
it back, Brenda. Dial it
Well,
back just a
that
little
was her
bit.
name, Nut. It was Queen Nut. She was the queen. She was the
It's
night
true.
sky,
That's accurate.
right?
Dial it back, Brenda. Dial it
and
back.
she would swallow the sun at night and give birth to it in the morning.
Okay, Brenda.
Is that how the world works?
Brenda, you're a nutcase. Dial it back, please.
It's just mythology.
Brenda, I don't have to wait to leave my cheating spouse, my
You keep
cheating
All right,
saying
we're
girl
going
that.
in a
until
circle,
I
guys.
find
So we're
something
gonna
else.
move on.
Yes,
Because
please.
this is very unriveting.
It's beating a dead
So-
horse. I understand.
Yes, the horse is not even there anymore.
I'm
We've done
surrounded
Now we're,
by-
now we're beating off horses?
we've done
I'm
beat it
I'm
surrounded.
into
I'm surrounded by dead horses.
anyway. So with that being said, my point on that, just to give my 2 cents very briefly, whatever's happening with the sky doesn't necessarily have any correlation to what's happening on the ground. Now, you can assume that it does and that it's because of what's happening on the ground, but that would be a reaffirming the consequence. So
That's not what that means at all.
So
So
if you believe the celestial proves the terrestrial, have fun.
I think that
We can navigate using the stars. We can navigate the ground using the stars.
flat maps with the star charts.
Uh-huh.
They're not flat. It doesn't work on a flat map. It doesn't work.
So what's
Right, on a
magnetic
flat Earth,
declination?
it doesn't
then?
work.
Well, what was magnetic declination then?
Well, you don't use magnetic declination to celestial navigate.
Well, not when.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we're using a compass to navigate, assuming that the Earth is a globe, right? They went out into the southern hemisphere, and they found out that they were wildly off, and so they had to then
What do you
send
mean
out whole.
wildly off?
So they had
Because
to
they
send-
hadn't mapped out where the southern magnetic pole was. It's off the coast of Antarctica.
Well, even now there's 3 on the magnetic declination chart. There's 3 poles. So
There's
Sorry,
no,
what?
there's only one
Show me
southern
3
pole.
poles.
There's only one southern pole. You've been listening to Whitsitt again. The man is.
Show me 3
is-
well, it
southern
actually
poles.
says there's
not
five. It
all-
actually says
altogether.
there was last I looked at it, there was actually 5, but one of those was like a geographical, and then you have the magnetic.
We have one North
Yeah.
Pole and one South Pole.
You
We might
don't
have
have a
other.
South
We might
Pole.
have other areas that are like nodes or places where it's
There you go.
stronger in one place and weaker in another. But we
node.
have one.
What do you mean 3
Yeah.
magnetic poles? 3 magnetic south poles.
So when you look at a magnetic declination chart, there are 3 places where the magnetic fields converge in a seemingly south pole fashion.
Show me that.
I can't show anything. My showing
Oh,
is
okay.
This
So
was
what am I
something that
Googling then?
Whitsitt did this a couple days ago, I think.
What am I
That's
Googling?
true.
One of his talks.
That's true. Anybody who
But
wants
I
to learn
don't-
more about that can go
Hang
check
on.
out
Share.
Whitsitt Gets It.
Whitsitt is an imbecile.
He is. What am I Googling?
Magnetic declination in the South Pole, maybe.
Magnetic declination map.
Oops.
Are you
Southern Hemisphere,
Are you
Southern
Googling
Hemisphere.
this?
Map.
Are you actually Googling
Magnetic
this?
declination map.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right.
Hey, Troubling, sometime we should have a open panel and it'll be
Which one
us
do you want?
flat earthers versus Google. What do you think?
Oh, nice, dude. That's actually a great idea.
We
you wanna tell me which-
we don't need Brenda and Ruhif. We can just use Google.
That's true. You don't.
Which one are we pointing at?
And the one that I seen Whitsitt show looked like a globe, so we
Globe.
gotta keep scrolling until we find that one.
Did it
Globe.
look like a the azimuthal projection map?
No, that's not the one.
Troubling
No.
Tribune hosts Google as the Glober. Oh, that is
Or
great
Chat
idea.
GPT.
This one? That
Oh
one?
yeah, that would be a great idea. Troubling. If you do that, could I come on your show?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
use either use Bard, right? That's pretty good.
This one looks like there's 2 places.
Oh, here we go. Here's what you're talking about. Is that what you're talking about? This is going to be funny.
Is that? I didn't.
I think that's what you mean. Do you mean there's 2 magnetic poles there?
This isn't the exact one that I seen, but yeah.
Okay.
So debunk incoming,
what-
egg on my
Ooh.
face.
What does it say
Silliness
the
incoming.
year there? What is the year
No,
there?
no, don't worry about the year. What is magnetic declination? What is magnetic declination?
So I can't think of what the definition is right off the top of my head.
Okay, it's the difference. It's the difference in azimuth, or not azimuth, the difference in degrees between true north or true south and the magnetic pole.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
basically what I thought it was, but always
Excellent.
good to make sure that it's
What-
crystal clear.
Okay. If you are at the South Pole, what is going to happen to your declination? First of all, if you walk in a circle 1 meter around the South Pole, right, your direction for true south is changing a lot. Right?
No, it
You're
will
looking at
not
major circle
change. It will
around
not
the
go
south
into a full
geographic
circle.
pole.
Like if you go into the declination, it will not go into a.
Hold
like,
on, Don. Hold on.
You
Hold
cross
on,
one
Don.
line, it's not gonna. Your compass is not going to spin in a circle, and
We're
you're
not
going to be
talking
upside
about
down
compasses, Don.
instantly.
If you are walking around in a circle around the geographic pole, what is happening to your true north or true south? Not compasses. What is happening to true north and true
Well,
south?
your compass reads your true.
Not the
north.
compass, Don. Not the compass, Don.
Well,
Not
your
the
compass
compass.
reads true.
Not
north.
the compass, Don. Not
so
the compass.
what are we talking about?
We're
Observation.
talking about true north or
So
true
are we
south.
talking about observation, or are we talking about scientific observation?
We're talking
Natural
about walking
observation
around.
or scientific observation? Because
We're
if
talking about walking around the actual geographic pole. What happens to the direction of the true north or true south? What happens to it? We're not talking about compasses, Don.
I don't know, because my observation would probably not be able to determine what's happening.
Oh, can someone else answer, please?
It's just like me walking around in the circle in my living room. I'm not going to know which way I'm facing unless I got a compass.
We're not talking about compasses, Don. Can someone
Yeah,
answer
but-
what happens to the direction of the pole, right, if you are walking around the geographic pole?
Nothing happens to the pole because we have no effect.
He didn't ask.
to
He
the
didn't ask what
world.
happens
Fuck
to the
me,
pole,
Don.
Don.
Seriously.
Don.
Obviously, the compass would
Obviously.
be spinning around in a circle.
No,
but
we're not
how is
talking about
this,
compasses. Just what happens
No.
to the direction.
Just imagine that you're at true south and there's an actual pole there, and you have some twine, and you hold on to the twine and you go around it in a circle. What happens to that twine?
Nothing.
It's going to point. What do you mean nothing?
Nothing's going to happen to that twine. If you go to true
It's going to point
south,
in different directions.
Well done,
how is
Brenda.
it going
Yes.
to point in different directions?
Yes.
Yeah, but how is
This
this
insane?
how is this a rebuttal to there being multiple points that are listed as south poles?
Right. If you understand the point of this little exercise, what happens, that's if we're looking down, right? Let me draw it in paint or
So
something.
if I go to the South Pole and I put a pole up on a gear, I'm gonna be a fucking helicopter. Is
Okay,
that what you're trying
whatever.
to say? Is I'm gonna
No.
turn into a helicopter if I take a rope to the South Pole, to the lineal South Pole or whatever you want to call
Okay, so we're a meter away from the South Pole, right?
it. Sorry for my language. I forgot that we're on YouTube.
Sorry, we're at the South Pole a meter away, and that string line is oriented one way. Okay, we go a meter or two around the circle, like 90 degrees around the circle. That direction is now 90 degrees from where it was 5 seconds ago. Correct?
No, like that's absolutely impossible.
Holy shit, people.
You are
So-
trying to say that if I go right into the center of the pole, I'll be spinning in a circle
Yes,
because
we're
the
walking
Earth is
around the
spinning.
pole.
Because the
No,
Earth is spinning.
no. We've stuck a pole in the ground, right? We're looking at it from this way. That's the direction we're looking. We go around the circle a little bit. Now we're looking that way, right?
Right.
Right. That's all, right? So that direction
I can do that
changes a
in my
lot.
living room. So why do I have to be in the
Yes.
South Pole to do it?
Right, because we're talking about the South Geographic
Because you're
Pole.
making straw man arguments
No,
over
I'm trying to
absolutely nothing.
explain,
You're trying to explain
why it looks
Putting a
like there are
pole
two
in the
poles there.
ground and walking around it,
Yes.
and you see different views of the pole. That's all you
Right.
explained. And I don't need to
Right.
be in the South Pole to do that. So why
Right,
did you
but
make this
if
argument?
you are at the South Pole and you're close to it, the direction that you're looking changes very quickly, correct?
It doesn't change as quicker than
Sure, there are
if I'm
two-
standing 5 feet away from a
Jesus
pole
Christ.
in my
It
living
feels
room.
like
But
you're
that
being
does not have anything to
contrarian,
do with-
Don.
Yeah.
There really doesn't have anything.
This is unbelievable.
Guys,
Like,
this really doesn't have anything to do with the fact that there are literally like two different spots that you would have that little circle
Right.
phenomena happening.
we're getting
listed
there.
here.
We're
So-
getting there. Do you understand, Tribune? That
Yeah,
if
I'm
you-
with
if
I'm with
you're-
you so far. I'm just trying to
Excellent.
see how it's a rebuttal.
Okay. So if you're at the South Geographic Pole and the South Magnetic Pole is hundreds, if not thousands of kilometers away, right? Is your compass going to change very much just doing that circle around the geographic pole?
Nope.
No, very good. Excellent. So what we have
Because
is
your
at the South
compass
Geographic
calculates
Pole.
to the North Pole. So why would it
Whatever.
even
South Pole,
compare
whatever,
to the
whatever.
South Pole? Because there is no actual South Pole. Everything other than the
We're
North
almost there,
is
Don. We're
opposite
almost there.
of the North Pole.
We're almost there. Okay. But your compass, if you're doing that meter circle around the geographic pole, your compass is not going to change very much. Right? So at the South Geographic Pole, your true direction towards the pole is changing a lot, and your compass direction is not. What was the definition of declination again?
There is no change because
What
there
was
is
the
no
definition
South
of
Pole.
declination?
Everything is opposite of the North. That's
What was the
it.
definition of declination?
The change from the azimuth, or sorry, the change from the magnetic field
To the true.
based on a true
Yes.
magnetic, or sorry, based on true south or true north. But again, it really seems like you're conflating the. It seems like you're conflating the true geographic south with the magnetic south poles though, because we're
No.
seeing two. We're actually we have data for basically two
Hang on.
magnetic south
Can I
poles.
finish this before I go? Because I've got to go and pick up my boy.
Sure.
There are two spots on that map, right? You've got a geographic pole and a magnetic pole. At both locations, one of those directions is changing rapidly and the other is not. So at the geographic pole, your true direction is changing really quickly, but your magnetic is not. At the magnetic pole, your magnetic direction's changing a lot, but your direction to the true pole isn't.
But can you
That's
prove
why
that?
that looks like there are two poles.
But
One
can
of them
you
is a
prove that?
magnetic pole. I'm interpreting this fucking diagram
there's-
for you.
So you're interpreting
those is
something
not.
that somebody told you, right? So you
No.
can't prove it.
I'm explaining why it
because-
appears
Okay.
there are two poles.
Hold on, there's a
there are
there's
not
some-
two magnetic poles.
There's confusion because I've actually looked this up before, and there is multiple poles in the south. There's actually not just the two. I've actually seen that there's as much as 4. So one of those, you're right. There is a geographic or true south pole, right? Or at least a claim to be. What we're looking
But
at
do you
here
understand why
strictly-
do you understand why there's a point there on the map at the geographic pole?
But this
Well,
is the
we know
magnetic.
declination
that
map.
there's strong
That's the
points
axis
on
of
North Pole, right?
That's the
We do
axis
know-
of rotation. That's the axis of rotation, right?
Well,
these
we
are the-
do.
So these are
We
the literal
do know
magnetic
that there's
lines.
strong points on the North Pole, like we do have different areas of the northern hemisphere that has extra magnetic, so it can mess
I
up
don't think
your compass. Oh yeah, you go to the Bermuda Triangle, it messes up your compass pretty good, because that's
No.
highly magnetic. So are the
there's-
South Pole things that are the South Pole phenomenons messing with certain areas of like high magnetic areas within the northern hemisphere, like we have on the Bermuda Triangle, we have on the actual North Pole, and there are actual several more highly magnetic North Poles within the northern hemisphere.
Anyway, troubling. Do you understand why there is a point on that map at the geographic pole?
Ignore the fact that I just spoke truth.
So
Okay.
here's the thing.
you
I
understand
get that you think that this is like the exact part that it's supposed to be, but I literally just Googled it just to back up what I'm saying about there being more points. So there are actually 3 South Poles. One of the South Poles is I'm literally just reading it. This is from nationalgeographic.com. If you stuck a pole all the way through the planet along its axis of rotation, it would poke out of the bottom at the geographical South Pole. But there is more than one South Pole. In fact, there are 3. The geographic South Pole is the place where all the lines of longitude converge in the southern hemisphere. This chart is a magnetic declination chart. It has nothing to do with the geographical South Pole whatsoever. These are
Yes, it does.
these are just the magnetic lines.
Oh. Declination is the difference between the true pole and the magnetic pole. Right? At the true pole, your direction to that pole is changing rapidly. Therefore, your declination is changing rapidly. That's why there's a spot at the geographic pole.
Ruhif, are those red and blue lines are indicating declination? They're not
Yes,
indicating
declination.
magnetic. I think people are interpreting them as magnetic field lines.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, I've got to go. Thank you again, troubling. I've got to pick up my boy. If Brenda can explain why the declination map has those 2 poles, like I've tried to
Well,
for
you
the last
just
20
did.
minutes. I know.
just
It's obviously got missed. Anyway, I've got to go. Thank you. See you. How do I leave? Hold
Yeah,
on.
thanks
a
for
good
coming
one.
on, Ruhif. Appreciate you
Oh.
being our resident Glober, making sure that we always have somebody to debate. So
Nice.
hopefully you can talk to some more of your friends so we can get even more Globers in here to have a more
That'd be cool.
dynamic panel.
Or someone
Alright.
that knows a little bit more.
Thanks, Tom. All right. Yeah.
No problem, anytime.
Absolutely. We always love it when someone's being cheeky. Is Luke, are you still all right, this is Charlie now. Charlie, welcome to the show. You've been very patient. Thank you for joining.
Hey, much respect, Trouble and Tribune. I'm just sitting low. I'm going to hear the conversation, and when there's something that I want to interject, maybe you'll allow me.
Yeah, no
I'll
worries.
sit back. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. I was wondering, what's up, Baller Joe? Awesome, man. Appreciate you coming on. How is the
Is
say
that
the
the
weather.
ISS? I was there like 10 years ago.
Coming
So
in
was-
from 250 statute miles into your mind. You guys can hear me okay?
Hey,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that satellite reception in outer space, in the vacuum of outer space, is wonderful.
It's
Bloody
NASA.
amazing.
That's
God,
NASA.
I gotta love that ESA sign. I can read it perfectly.
Oh, yeah. I'm an ESA astronaut today, but I've been NASA astronauts other days.
Very decorated.
Yeah. Look at me, watch me flip my mic.
Anybody who can just sit there and casually just hold their arm under their armpit while on camera.
You need support when you're
With zero gravity.
zero gravity. Yep.
Well, it's
Actually have
actually
just as much
micro.
gravity.
Yeah, it's actually
Microgravity.
Hurling
microgravity.
17,000 miles per hour towards the Earth.
Yeah, my outward acceleration matches with the curvature of the Earth, so I'm just zooming right around the curve, just perfectly.
That's awesome, man.
Trust me.
Well, I think we have to at this point. You're showing us
Yeah.
video evidence. It would
That's
just make
what
more
she said.
sense. It would make more
Oh, no.
sense for you to be.
Wait a
No, we
minute,
don't
is
have
that-
to. We don't have to trust him. We can.
Is
we
that
can just-
my fellow astronaut Don Pettit?
Why, yes, it is.
Oh, Don, I heard you peed upside down. Oh, maybe I'm not supposed to say that out loud. Sorry.
That was a Japan thing. So sorry.
Oh, okay. So I heard Brenda. And I interrupted Brenda. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I've been here a while. You go ahead.
No, I've been I actually just tuned in not too long ago. I'm going over I'd have to look out the window, but we're going over somewhere over the Earth, I think. Not near the poles, so it's kind of hard to we don't really go much anywhere near the poles. So
Well, you can't, can you?
no. Well, I can't.
Then
It's not
the
their orbit.
rotation of the Earth would just make you fall.
Their orbit
Well, there-
doesn't take them over the poles.
Yeah, there is polar orbits, but not for the space station.
Not for the ISS. No.
I do think it's well, it's the timing. It's not anybody's fault, right? Baller Joe came in and he's awesome, but I do just want to land on the fact that the magnetic declination in and of itself is like a debunk of the globe, right? Because you have the prediction for what we're expected to find with the magnetic field in the globe, and then people going out there and finding out that it's actually not working and having to send out whole expeditions to correct for the fact that they're not getting to the right place. I mean, it's pretty crazy, right?
To me, it is. But I think
Well,
it's crazy.
there's many magnetic phenomenons, and everything that is magnetic north is opposite south. So we don't read south, we just read north. That's it. And we have many
No,
many
you have to have-
magnetic norths all across the world.
No, that's
So
not true. So we have to have special compasses made for the southern hemisphere.
Oh, my goodness.
you need
Why would
special
that
ones.
be?
Do you?
What?
Yeah, they are
That's
the
sus.
special ones. They have helmets on them, and
No, they have to have
they
specially
take a
constructed.
school bus, a short one, right?
Why
Well,
do you
they
think
have
that
to have
is,
kind of
Brenda?
special.
Why
keep
would
getting
that
talked
be?
over.
I'm
be-
sorry.
Because of the field lines. Otherwise, the needle drags on the case, right? And then
Oh,
that's
and
not
why would
accurate.
that?
Well,
Why?
Because the needle aligns itself with the lines of the magnetic field.
Brenda,
it
where do you
points
get
north.
Brenda? Where do you get your information from, Brenda?
no, he's just trolling right now. There's no southern compass and there's no northern compass.
Yeah, there
That's
is.
just a troll.
Yeah,
There-
there is.
I know it's
I-
claimed that there is one. What's the debunk of that, Don? 'Cause I have looked that up before just to check, and I did see that Google told me that there was a different one.
Well,
Google.
I've never heard of it. Like that must be something new to me. It's just like the northern and southern fucking satellites that can take satellite images of the north and south pole. It's like fucking bullshit. Oh, sorry, my language.
I love your wordplay, dude. The sad lights. That's super funny.
Yeah, the satellites, man. Like it's just so sad. Like when I was a kid, oh yeah, we had images of the east and the west and all of around the earth. It's just that there was this big white spot at the top and the big white spot at the bottom. It's just because satellites could not go around the curve of the earth and do a perpetual free fall because the fact that that's not the way the earth turned, right? So, but now we've got satellite images of every single inch of the North Pole and every single inch of the South Pole. So somehow they
Pretty much.
magically made satellites float in the air, gravity
They don't
free and
float.
everything.
Technically,
They don't float.
Apparently in the North Pole and the South Pole, they would have to float because
No, they don't.
because technically there is no rotation fast enough to keep a satellite in the air.
Rotation doesn't keep them in the air.
Rotation does because they perpetually free
doesn't.
fall. They are perpetually free falling. Satellites
Yeah.
are perpetually free falling. So that
Yes.
means
They
that
have
from
a
your argument is the
Don,
Earth is turning so fast one
that's
way.
not the
The
argument.
satellite is turning the opposite way,
Enlighten us.
or
No, that's
falling
not
the
the
opposite
argument,
way.
Don.
That's the argument.
That's-
Yes.
No, it isn't,
Hold on.
Don.
Let's listen to this counterpoint, right? Like, so that's not how satellites work. They're not in perpetual free fall. Do tell.
I could explain it. Who? Go ahead, Brenda.
They have a lateral motion. They have a lateral motion, so they keep missing the Earth.
Can I
Does that mean
explain
they're-
it
are
the
they-
way that Brenda will agree with me too? Because I do understand what an orbit is like. Like an orbital velocity would be the fastest or the speed that something has to be going parallel with the surface of the Earth. So it's going literally sideways. And as the Earth curves away, the drop that we would measure with the 8 inches per mile squared, that drop matches with the speed of the whatever's orbiting.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Here's the problem.
Actual Earth. So you're in a perpetual free fall.
Yes,
because
it
the
is a
Earth
perpetual
spinning
free fall.
opposite to the satellite, and
It has nothing
you
to do
will
with their
never
spin.
hit the
It
curve.
has a motion. Its component of its motion
But it has-
is perpendicular to the Earth, so it keeps missing the Earth.
It's got
Imagine
a zero vector.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It's got. That's exactly
has-
why it's why.
No,
it's,
satellites have a vector. That's what
about
an orbit is.
What about the satellites that are geo-locked? And are there any satellites that are geo-locked in the North
Of
Pole?
course they are. Yeah, of course.
How
No,
does geo-locked
there
work?
are no
There-
geolocked
Of course there are.
in the North Pole.
Of course there are.
We
The
don't.
Himawari is geostationary, and a number of other satellites are geostationary.
How does that
That
work?
just means they're in one spot,
Well, how
like
does
on
that
a
it means
balloon.
It means that their orbital velocity matches that of the Earth.
Okay, so what about? So you saying that they do have those in the North Pole?
No, I not that I'm aware of.
Because that would be a debunk
can't.
if they did. They can't.
There
they can't.
I think there are a very few number of satellites that are in a polar
the phone.
polar orbit.
With
but
That's
I
not the
don't
same as
know.
Witsit gets it.
geostationary.
Welcome to
Right,
the show.
right,
Thanks
I
for
don't
coming
think it
on.
is.
Everybody yield the floor. We have a legend in the chat. Appreciate you making
A
haste.
legend. That's hilarious.
Yeah, what up, brother? Yeah, I was just hearing this goofiness, man. The magnetic declination has nothing to do with the geographic South Pole. And if you have some excuse about the geographic South Pole, it would be symmetrical. So if
What
it's
is-
just based on your relationship to the geographic pole, then you would see the same thing in the north. But you don't see that. It's magnetic declination. When you try to map it on the globe, it falls apart past 60 degrees south.
No, it doesn't.
So when you actually create the corrections east and west, which is what magnetic declination is relative to the compass readings, that gives you multiple convergence points. The official explanation is that the southern hemisphere's magnetic field is so erratic that it actually creates multiple convergence points for our readings.
Yeah. So what is declination, magnetic declination? What is it defined to be?
I just defined it.
No, but what is it? I missed it.
Yeah, it's just the deviation from actual north
or
on a
south.
globe.
And
It's
in
like,
the south, it's deviation from the southern pole.
well, if that's the case, then you've debunked yourself by
How
not
so?
addressing that there's multiple convergence points. Thank you.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Why are there multiple convergence points in the south but not the north?
I don't know what you mean by convergence points.
Oh.
I don't know what you mean. I haven't.
We were just
seen,
right there. We were just.
I haven't seen the maps or whatever presentation you gave about it.
He just
So I
pulled
don't
it
know.
up.
Ruhif had
Ruhif
it
just
up.
pulled it up.
Yeah, but Ruhif's thing, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
When he screen shared?
Mhm.
Yeah, that made perfect sense.
Why? Why is it not like that in the north though?
I don't know.
Thanks for playing. That was easy.
Huh? That's not playing. So why?
So
you
let's
don't
change
even
the subject and ask
understand.
Austin questions.
Yeah, so I don't know, right?
I know.
Yeah, it's okay to not know, right?
Unless
So
you're a
in
flat
the
earther.
southern pole, in the southern the map that Ruhif showed us showed those 2 points. Those were declination lines. They were not magnetic field lines.
Well, the problem is how if you sit there and say, well, it's okay to not know, but then you make the
Yeah.
argument that you know.
Yeah, exactly.
How is that plausible?
I'm just
like you're
talking,
making the argument that you know, but then you sit there and argue saying that you
I
don't
mean,
know.
Brenda was
So
literally just sitting in
I'm
here
just
pretending that
talking.
you guys didn't understand, and
You
then
don't.
said Ruif just you just explained
Yes.
it. They just don't understand
Yes.
it.
He
And then just
explained it at the
admitted
southern
that.
pole. He explained it for the southern pole. Yes. And I
But
understand
why
that.
is it not like that in the north? If it's his
I
explanation is that
don't know. I don't know.
So his explanation doesn't work. And
that doesn't follow that because I don't know it doesn't work.
no, his
follow.
explanation is that it's just based on your reading relative to the geographic pole. If that was true, then the same thing would happen in the north.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Thanks for playing.
What do you mean? That's just
okay.
Nonsense.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, it's
so
you just said you don't know though. Don't make it weird, like it's okay.
Yeah, just because you can read half the book doesn't mean you understand the whole book.
Or even the half you read.
Can you show me these multiple points in the northern hemisphere, please?
No, that's the point. There's not multiple points in the north.
Yeah, you have to try to keep up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I do like that mustache though.
Thank you. Not sure who you're talking to, but
you I'm talking to.
Oh man, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's a great little debunk there. Because again, it demands symmetry, the magnetic fields, and we're not getting that. So if there was multiple convergence points in the south, like there is, supposedly, then we should expect to see that in the north. So that's it, put very simply. So the fact that there's
we should be able to see equal and opposite reaction on the other side, and we don't see it on the other side.
Well, it makes perfect sense on a flat Earth.
I speak in a layman's terms sometimes.
It makes perfect sense on a flat Earth, right? So in the north, the compass just faces north. Like there is no magnetic declination on flat Earth. The compass faces north. We navigate relative to that. South is 180 degrees away from north. So as you go out in the south, it's significantly different, right? So that's why the north has such coherence and it makes so much sense. It's so evenly distributed. It's evenly distributed, but stretched in each coordinate. Well, that's because our quadrant, right? But that's because if you make a flat Earth a globe, you got to stretch the northern hemisphere out a little bit. So they cover their navigation checkbox by stretching the magnetic declination out in the north a little bit because it was off based on the globe assumption, but not too bad. But when you get to the south, it gets crazy, right? It gets absolutely insane. And then you had the cover story of, they just hadn't mapped out the South Pole yet.
Yeah, but we could make the argument that the North Pole is the strongest magnetic pole on the Earth. We do know that there's other magnetic poles. So when you're in the south, is the magnetic pole a little bit weaker from the north, and it may be veering off to some other magnetic phenomenon?
Well, what is the South magnetic pole, right? So we live on a plane and we experience the top half of the magnetic field. So we experience the top half of the field being the quote unquote North Pole. And the reason our compass points north or towards the center is because that's where we're the closest to, because the actual North Pole is going to be way above you in the sky. The South Pole is going to be beneath the Earth. We can't get there.
I don't believe in a south magnetic pole. I don't believe in none of that. I just believe in a north magnetic pole or magnetic poles specifically, and everything opposite of that is just non-magnetic. So your compass will actually point to whatever is strongest at your position, right?
If there's a northern pole, there has to be a southern pole.
No, yeah, but it's beneath you. It's
just opposite of the North Pole or opposite.
Yeah, at the southern pole of the
that magnetic thing, right?
Well, I gotta say, what you're talking about is called a monopole, and those have just been theorized. There's no actual evidence that exists.
That's right.
So we live on an inertial plane, which is called a block domain wall through the magnetic field. We see the top half of the field. That's a hemisphere basically around us. The South Pole would be down beneath us, and the North Pole would actually be where Polaris is, but our compass points horizontally towards the center because we're so much closer to that basically divergence.
But people have been to the Southern Pole though.
Is an hypothesis. So what do we believe in nowadays? Right?
No, it's an observation. People have been to the South Pole.
It's not an observation that the Earth is a globe.
How would you know if you were at the South Pole? How would you know?
I would have probably maps and compass readings.
According
what would your compass say at the South Pole?
According to the chart, you guys would just be going back and forth between 2 points.
I would correct for magnetic declination, right?
You'd have to move around. You'd have to move around a lot to know if you were in the South, right?
Why?
What device or apparatus do you have to tell you that you're near the South Pole?
I would have maps. I would have maps and compasses.
Right? Like the map behind me on the laptop, that flat map?
Probably not.
No,
I would have
the
maps
one
and
that
compasses.
in, it's called GPS.
Imagine a explorer busting
I was avoiding GPS. I was avoiding saying GPS.
Imagine an explorer back in the day busting out a whole freaking globe out of their backpack to try to figure out.
You don't need a
sextant, right? Like break out the sextant. Let's find out where we are. Oh shit, we're 1,000 miles from where we're supposed to be. That's
they
actually
had maps on paper.
They actually did that. They went to the South. So the British government and the U.S. government tried to chart the South. They assumed symmetry of a sphere. They used the spherical assumption to navigate.
They already knew that. That's not assumption.
And used the sextant to actually calculate properly, and they were way off.
That's right. Like they actually used the spherical model. They went to the South, and they were off by hundreds of miles in just a matter of days, consistently and with the same rate as they went further
declination.
south.
Hang on. I just joined again. Whitson, are you saying that there are no two declination nodes in the north? Do you have evidence for that?
Are you saying that there are?
Yes. Do you have evidence there aren't? I want to see a map, a declination map of the North Pole.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll pull it up. If you can show me the symmetry in the north and the south, that'd be great. Doesn't exist.
We've been through the south. Do you guys understand why there are two nodes?
Not too many people have been to the south, so you can't say that we've been.
No, what he's saying is that we covered that like 20 minutes ago is what he's saying. So
okay, sorry.
We don't have pictures of the South though, really. Like the South
yeah, this
Pole.
is
we do.
Of course, anyone do I kind of share screen? I guess
we don't, because there's only been like 1,000 people that has ever went to the south.
We're just talking about declination maps. Show me a declination map of the North Pole with only one node.
Yeah, I'm about to pull it up. This is goofy. Yeah.
Cool. You can share screen by clicking the green thing at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
I don't know. I was just trying to be helpful with it. I don't know if you've used Zoom before. You use different software.
No, you're good.
Oh my God, he used a different software. Must be a different image too, right?
Walk your walk, Brent.
Sorry, I'm muted. We can see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, right
Yeah,
here
kind of.
in the north, this is nothing like over here
Can you zoom
in
in?
the south. Do we want to
Can you zoom
compare
in?
the distance between this alleged landmass called Antarctica and the distances here? Is that what we want to do?
Can you just zoom in? I can't. I'm driving.
Seems pretty different to me.
Go down. There you go.
I'll just
Looks
add
like-
it also
looks like
looks
two
different
nodes.
from up here in space.
Looks like 2 nodes to me.
Really, where?
This is the south.
The
over here?
green star,
left.
the green asterisk shape.
What does the
That's
green
what-
asterisk represent?
Oh my goodness. That's the south.
In the southern hemisphere, it's indicating the southern magnetic pole. So I presume in the northern hemispheres, it's indicating the north magnetic pole.
All right.
Can you zoom in to the left circle? I assume that's the North Pole.
Yeah, that's Greenland.
Okay. So as you see here, you obviously have an even distribution all converging on the central point. Fundamentally different from this.
No, I see 2
Can you
points.
zoom in?
I'm already
Can you
zoomed
zoom
in.
in to the left one?
I am zoomed in.
Looks like 2 points.
Well, you got to zoom in even further.
Check it out properly. In a minute.
Okay.
Check it out.
Yeah, and that's like hundreds of kilometers apart.
And this is
from
what's
each
even
other.
funnier. It gets way worse. So they claim, well, the reason they couldn't navigate in the south was because the magnetic south pole, they didn't know where it was and it moves or whatever. Okay. But say that the north and south magnetic poles are moving, right? Shouldn't they be moving symmetrical to one another?
Not necessarily.
What?
Well, that defies physics.
Well, yeah,
so.
necessarily, because
Yes.
it's the opposite of each other.
The geodynamo model, supposedly convection currents from the center of a sphere causing a magnetic field. So if the magnetic poles
Why
are
do they have to
moving,
be-
they should move symmetrically.
Why does that need to be perfectly symmetrical? Like the uneven distribution of mass? Does that
Season
mean
should
they're
too.
gonna
No, uneven distribution of mass does not in any way answer anything on this magnitude.
all right.
Oh,
Weather should
what?
too.
We talking about gravity now?
No, they do try to say that some of the southern anomalies is because of mass distribution, but they ran that through supercomputers and it didn't get anywhere close to giving them the value they needed without destroying all of modern geology. But anyway,
All right.
clearly here in the north and the south are different. Okay. And the official globe answer is that, well, the southern hemisphere's magnetic field is very erratic. And so it creates these points of convergence. That's the official answer.
Could it be erratic because of the North Pole is constantly erratic?
It could be quote unquote erratic because they tried to turn the south region of a flat earth into a globe.
And it's nothing like it actually is.
Yep.
Because
By the way, for all the true earthers out there, I've never got a rebuttal to why if the magnetic north and south pole are moving, why they don't move symmetrical to one another. They don't.
Why should they?
They
Why
actually
should
have
they?
to. No, they actually have to.
Why?
Because of physics.
Try doing
Why?
it with any other magnet, and then you'll understand why.
It's not a solid magnet.
It's
Okay, but it's
supposed
supposedly
to be,
coming
yes.
from a core.
It's coming from the mantle, not the core.
No, it's coming from the outer core.
The mantle
the
is
south
where the magnetic field lines are generated in the mantle.
the South Pole and North Pole magnetic parts of the magnetic field literally necessitate that they are opposite of each other. There's no other way.
No.
There's like no other
Why?
way around it.
Absolute opposite of each other. So that
Why?
means that they would have to be in line with each other.
Based on what? Why?
Based on
It-
you just saying it's the core. So the magnetic
No, it's not the
field
core,
is
it's the
based off
mantle.
the core. So or the mantle or what are you talking about? Because it's the center. So everything spreads
It's
out
not the
from the center, and therefore
It's not the
one end
center.
must be the north and one end must be the south.
Dude, you don't even know your own
Differ
model,
from each
Brenda.
other.
This is embarrassing, right? So it comes from the outer core. It's called a geodynamo model. They claim that the liquid outer core creates convection currents that generates a magnetic field.
Outer core.
Yes. See, there's the magnetic pole and the true north pole, and that is the two poles. They're closer together than they are in the south. And so you're saying that that is a problem, right?
The overall lack of symmetry is also a problem. These are two different problems. I'm going to stop sharing screen though.
So your argument is there is a magnetic pole, there's a magnetic south pole,
I'm showing
and
you
there's
the image.
also a fake north or magnetic north pole, and there's also a fake south magnetic pole because you cannot
No.
explain one to the other.
No, there's a real north and south pole. That's the axis of the Earth. And then there's the magnetic poles. And the magnetic pole in the north is closer than in the south.
So
Oh my
it's
gosh,
just
you actually have to share
so
screen
what
with
you're
you.
trying to say is it's just the way the Earth spins.
No,
No.
I'm just saying that it's closer. It's just different.
Makes
Everyone,
more
look at the
sense.
screen. Look at the screen
Yeah.
here. You see the geographic North Pole, geographic South Pole. You see they're supposed to be symmetrical to each other.
Wait, we're
One's
not
tilted
seeing
to-
yours. We're seeing Brenda's still. There we go.
Yeah, I stopped sharing.
There we go. We
I'm
got you
polite.
now.
I am polite. Yes.
One's tilted to the right, and then the bottom's tilted to the left, right? Because as the one on the right tilts to the right, the other one has to tilt the opposite way because they're symmetrical. You see the north magnetic pole and the south magnetic pole, it runs right through it and it has symmetry. Now, when we look at the magnetic declination, it's nothing like this. And they claim that they move around, but they don't move around in
It looks
relation to
similar.
each other symmetrically.
They
And
have the
that's
degrees.
and this is the way that I was taught this exact image. So the declinations should be wherever the arrows are pointed inwards, opposite of the north and south pole.
Yeah, Brandon, have you been doing your due diligence and tuning into Skull and Globers and taking notes?
No, I have not. They're too long, dude. They're too long.
That's why
I
you're
don't
so
have
far
time.
behind.
What do you mean behind? I'm not behind
he
anything.
just likes
So
listening
it's
to
she.
Google and YouTube videos
So
of globers,
I
right?
don't see a problem with this illustration. What is the problem with this?
Probably
Because you are
you.
saying that the North Pole and the South Pole can be in opposite areas at the same
They
time.
are. One's in the north and one's in the south. What are you talking
What
about?
exactly is an opposite area
I
when we're
don't
talking about the
know.
ground? If we're standing somewhere in the
Off-
north that we call the North
Antipodal.
Pole,
Opposite from each
It's
other. Opposite from each other.
but that's not. There's no
Antipodal.
such thing as that when we're talking
Yes,
about
there is.
not when we're talking
Like,
about reality, Brenda. You never go
take a
upside
We're
down to
talking
go
about
to
reality.
Australia.
On a sphere, there are places that are antipodal
Yeah,
to
we
you.
know that. We know that. I'm saying in reality, there's never. You never go upside down. You never travel around the curve. The ground is always just.
That's
beneath
not how
you
globes work. That's not how it works.
because it's
You
flat.
have to understand. You have to understand the model first.
I think I do.
You don't. You think
We
that
clearly
you
know it
think
more than you. You thought the magnetic field came from the mantle.
it does.
Oh my God.
If you traveled halfway around your globe, you'd be antipodal to where you're relative. That doesn't match with
Yeah.
reality.
It's half. Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
You're making up the part where you go upside down by
You
traveling.
don't. You never go upside down. on a
Relative
globe.
to where your starting point is.
Yeah, you never go upside down.
So you
Well,
never.
technically, yes, you would have to go
No,
upside
would
down.
have
you
to,
would
Brenda.
never
Technically.
go upside down because down is towards the center of the earth.
But relative to your starting point.
No, but relative to the center of the earth.
No,
that's
no.
down.
But you start it. Let's say you start in. I live in Minnesota. You start in Minnesota,
Yeah.
and you're going to go to Australia.
Well, actually, I think our antipodal spot is somewhere in China, isn't it?
Doesn't matter.
Maybe it's.
Okay.
I think it's out in the ocean too.
Okay, let's
somewhere.
say. Oh, you're in Minnesota too. I forgot.
Yeah, of course.
So let's say wherever it is in China. Okay.
Yeah,
You're
wherever.
saying that when you travel from here to China over the earth, that you don't do a half front flip?
Your feet are always pointing down.
Because it's flat.
No, because that's how gravity works.
No, I understand how gravity works, but
you obviously don't.
Brenda, what you are saying, you're contradicting yourself right now.
It's not a contradiction.
It is.
Down is to the
down
center
is towards
of the
the
earth.
center of the earth on a globe, right?
Right. So if you walk along the surface of the earth, your feet will always point down.
Yes, but
good.
Okay,
good.
The
Just
people,
leave it there. Yes, they always point down, right?
Yes, but the people that are in China are standing with their heads the opposite way
in the opposite direction. But
that's what you're saying, and I'm saying that never happens.
How would you know?
Because the ground is always down and the sky is always up.
But that's not a contradiction, because for them, their feet are always pointing down because gravity is to the center of the earth.
Well,
because you believe that.
No,
believe that it is.
I talk to all my Chinese friends, and they do not talk like they have a head rush, like all the blood is rushing to them.
And I've been on Zoom calls with
no, they're not
gravity
upside down.
Why would it rush to their head when gravity
because
points down?
They're standing upside down.
No, they're not. Their feet are always pointing down.
So how do you experience this going upside down with the ground beneath you the whole time? How do you experience that? How do you demonstrate that? How do you even know if you're going upside down? If you fly from here to China,
you never go upside down. You never go upside down.
If you fly from here to China,
yes, you never go upside down.
So you're saying there's no curvature?
No, I'm saying there is curvature.
If there's curvature, then you're going upside down.
No, because upside down
actually trying to sit there and
you're
say
changing
that gravity.
You're changing the direction of down is what you're doing.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
that's
you are.
what down means. What down means is towards the center of the earth.
We gotta not talk over each other,
because what he's trying to say is no matter your movement, gravity is always going to push you down. So therefore,
the center of the earth.
Every foot that you move, the force of gravity changes to make you be forced downwards. That's
absolutely. No, Don had it correct.
But Brenda, you're saying that there's no difference. There's no 1 degree difference in the surface of the earth every 69 miles. You're saying that you're not changing angle.
Of course there is.
So you are changing angle.
Your zenith changes too.
Yes,
Every step
you're saying
you take, your zeniths are not parallel.
But how do you demonstrate? How do you even come close to the idea that you can demonstrate that or experience it?
You can do a reciprocal zenith measurement and show that they are not parallel.
Those don't work.
How?
Those don't match the globe prediction.
They absolutely do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, cite one that matches the globe prediction.
The main surveyor showed it, and so is Jesse Kozlowski.
His didn't match.
Yes, it does.
No, I talked to him specifically. It didn't match.
The
best he got, it was accounting for 15% refraction. He got within 85% of the predicted R value.
Yeah, that's good.
So 60% of the prediction is good.
Over that short amount of distance?
60%
over that
of the
short
prediction.
It was like 1 or 2 miles, wasn't it?
It ranged. There was a whole range.
Yeah,
that's a
it's
D.
a very short.
So there was a whole range up to 20 miles.
It's very short. Even 20 miles is a very small percentage of the circumference of the
Okay,
Earth.
anyway, just so everyone at home knows, in reality, whenever you look at the reciprocal zenith angle measurements, they don't ever actually match the globe.
They actually do. Yeah, and McToon has shown that repeatedly. You can go on his website and you can compare, and that's exactly what his numbers show.
Yeah, McToon, the guy who thought that the triangulation survey had the raw observed angles in the first column and that the correction column was just averaging it out. When in fact, it was a weighted mean in the first column. And then the corrected angle.
Yeah, you didn't understand that either, did you? You didn't understand that.
All right, man. All right.
You didn't.
You're not in a position to learn.
Not from, well, you need to say something that's true.
Okay. According to physics, a magnetic field is symmetrical, certainly when it's a spherical geodynamo effect.
Okay.
But the Earth does not.
Why do you think accounts for that?
Not a globe.
You think that maybe that there are anomalies and irregularities deep within the Earth's mantle and the core, which would make things be a little bit more messy?
Probably
than
just a
just
No,
false
the core
assumption.
has to be symmetrical too.
There are, in fact, anomalies within the interior of the Earth that are affecting it and making it, messy rather
Don't
than
say in
neat.
fact before you say that, because that's
It's been mapped out. It's been
Really,
mapped
because
out.
I just went and read Harvard, Stanford, and Yale, and they said they can't map it out.
It's been mapped out. I've seen the maps.
they're not
Oh,
anti-globers.
that's
Anti-globers have special privileges.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm saying you guys make stuff up.
No, I'm not.
Like MC2, he wants a measurement for something that's at rest.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you're talking
Or
about.
he wants
Or-
you to prove
I don't
his
know
argument
every-
you
wrong.
say
So they-
something.
like-
Just
like-
because you say something, it doesn't mean I know necessarily what you're talking
No,
about.
it was an example, Brenda.
You're really
An
gonna
example
hold on.
I
of something.
wasn't there, so I don't know.
It doesn't
dude.
matter if you were there or not. What I'm saying is you're making things up and
No, I'm
saying
not.
things. You're
There are
stretching things
anomalous
out to
structures.
be your
There are
way.
anomalous structures. There are anomalous structures within the interior of the Earth that are affecting how the magnetic field lines are
Oh.
appear on the Earth, and it makes it a little bit more messy.
How big
I
are
don't believe
the,
he's making things up. I just believe I believe he's just imagining things for
You
his
think that software
for
is,
him to
is
believe
lens
what
compression?
he wants to believe.
so the interior parts of the Earth? How do we? Describe that? What's the interior parts
Well,
of the Earth?
there's a
Bedrock?
very hard inner core. There's an outer core, and
How
Is
do we
there
know
is
this?
the man.
is our inner core not liquid?
It's solid.
How do you know? How does anybody know
Yeah,
this?
like I thought it. Well, I was always thought that it was like a molten lava, like
No,
a liquid.
that's the meme that you get from
That's
people
back
like
in the
people
80s.
like that's the meme that you get from people like Oakley, but Oakley's a moron, right? So there is a solid
so
inner core.
there's moron. So there's the
Yes.
so there's the inner core,
He's a con
There's-
artist.
outer core.
So there is
But
a
yeah,
there's
the
a
in-
solid
Inner
there's-
core is not hot. It's like frozen because
No,
the heat
it's
that we get
extremely
for
hot.
the Earth is from the sun only, right?
They say that the
No,
outer
it's
core is
hot.
liquid and that
Yes.
it's the source of the magnetic field. Everything Brenda's saying.
Yes,
I mean, Brenda just
that's
doesn't
what
know
I've been
what.
saying. I've just
You
been
said
saying
that the magnetic field came from the mantle.
Yes,
No,
It
it doesn't.
yes, it does. Because
Okay.
you have moving electric charges. Moving electric charges create a magnetic field. That's what
I
you
gotta
the
go
outer
for a
in the
core.
drive,
mantle.
guys. I can only take so much of this, so I'm gonna go.
Well, you just
space
not
driving
you
for
just
a
you
while.
keep you're not
See ya, Dip.
listening, and you keep I keep getting talked over, right? Which is typical.
I
So
think I have
there
a
is
bad connection too.
Yeah, so
think
there
I'm
is
late.
there's an inner solid core, and then there's an outer core to that, and then there's the mantle area. The mantle has currents. Those currents carry an electric charge, and a moving electric charge creates a magnetic field. It's a result of turbulent convection and the result of radioactive heating.
That's what
You're
it
just
says.
getting debunked on the screen. No big deal.
That's not debunking
Yeah,
anything.
I think you want to slow down your matrix.
That's what I've
screen
been saying.
in the background there, baller, because you're
Hey.
like glitching out.
That's
I'm in
what
the
I've
core
been
of the Earth.
saying.
I'm cruising around the core of the Earth. I gotta go, you guys. Much love.
Have a
See
good
ya.
one, baller.
Thank you.
You guys all have a good night.
Later, brother.
Thanks for coming on.
You too.
I think that we had Luke in the chat as well. He was pretty new, and we haven't heard much from him. Did you have any more questions, Luke?
I'm
still
here.
in here?
I'm here. Brenda, you're a hero. Yeah, the Earth is round, but for flat earthers, I have a question. If you can prove this wrong, I'll give you $20. right? So in your flat Earth model,
Not everybody jump for it, right?
yeah,
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
All right. In your flat Earth model, the sun rotates around the flat Earth and illuminates half of it. That's how you explain night and day, right? In Antarctica, people there right now, they experience 3 months of straight sunshine. How is this possible on a flat Earth?
Prove it.
Well,
Yeah.
Our son Witsit
no.
gets it. Cash
Oh,
App.
No, wait a
Um,
minute, because I can actually make this argument through my own experiences.
Okay.
In the North Pole, they tell you that you can see 3 months of daylight also, right?
Yeah, there's time lapses on YouTube if you want to watch one.
Guess what? You will
What?
never, ever, ever see a 24-hour sun in the North Pole. But they
Yes, you
tell
will.
There's
you
multiple. There's multiple. There's
nope,
multiple
nope,
ones.
absolutely
You
there are.
realize
Can't
that your
help.
flat
Well, you
Earth
just say
model
no.
supports the fact
Wow.
that there are 24-hour days in
I
the North
have,
Pole.
oh
You
yes,
know that, right?
yes. See, that's the argument. I do have 20, or I live in an area which has 3 months of daylight and 3
Mhm.
months of full darkness,
Right.
but I don't have 3 months of sunlight. There's absolutely no way in hell I have 3 months of sunlight.
That is
well, you
possible
just
in
said
both
that you
North
did.
and South
So
Pole.
No,
You mean
no.
of the sun being
Does.
above the horizon?
A visual sun you do not see. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
From
watch his words. Very important with the words. Sunlight, daylight.
right. From 10 o'clock in the morning, you see the sun. 4 o'clock in the evening, the sun goes away, but it's always daylight.
Okay, so even if let's say that's 100% it, which it could be, whatever.
No, no.
How does this make sense
it
on a
is
flat Earth? How does
it
this
is
make
100%
sense on a flat Earth?
refraction.
It doesn't.
Take a
How does the
look
light
at
just
take a
refraction? You don't.
take a look at I think it was Glowbusters video of them using like a glass half ball and them shining a light. That's exactly what it looked like in the North Pole. Exactly what it looks like in
well, in the
North
South as well. It's called a coffee
Yes.
cup caustic.
Yes.
So I'll share the screen again.
So
Coffee
if
cup
somebody
caustic.
has,
Are you gonna
yes.
cash app the money, or like I don't know how
Yeah,
this
you
works?
didn't
But
prove it though.
Nice,
You
nice.
can't prove
well,
it.
you
It's
said how does it?
impossible.
Guys, quit
You
interrupting.
said how does it work?
You
And
can
is
say
it possible?
refraction and then end of story, but if you don't use math equations or actual
Those
video
are-
evidence,
I don't have to use math because guess what?
Those are
Your
caustics,
math
You
dude.
guys are literally
to
interrupting
prove the
somebody trying to present.
the diameter of the Earth, I can prove with that
oh my
same
god,
math
that
that
coffee cup
it's
is
around
the
Earth.
stupidest thing I've ever seen. That is not the Earth.
Hey, you guys are literally interrupting somebody trying to present, so why don't we just
Sorry.
chill?
Well, they interrupt me constantly, so fuck
No,
'em.
no, sorry.
Exactly. Thank you, Brenda.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's something called a coffee cup caustic, right? It's right here on the screen. And this is the way that light behaves with the circular container. You can show this also with a dome. You don't even need a dome, though. So just there being a barrier, light will actually reflect around the circular barrier. I can demonstrate this live. I have a dome over here over a flat Earth. I take a laser. It'll line up the entire outside of it. It's a basic thing. And I can actually show you all the math of it. It's very
So are you saying that
well-known
center?
fact.
Are you saying that bright spot is what we call the sun? Is that what
Sure,
you're
it doesn't
saying?
matter. It doesn't. You can do it with positions all over the place.
But is
You
that
can
is
literally
that what
ma-
you're saying? Is that
No,
what you're
I don't
saying?
have to say it because the sun can
Well,
be
then
all
what is the
over the
point of
place.
what is the point of this?
You
then?
can literally change the position of the light source all over it
Is
and
that
still get
why-
the effect.
Is that why we see the sun move? Is that what you're saying?
No, you don't see the sun move for 14 hours because you don't see the sun in the North Pole or the South Pole for
Yes, you
14
do.
hours a night. You
Well,
only see light. That's all you see. And I'm living proof of it
can
because I
see-
live in the North Pole. My wife lives in
Oh,
the North
there's-
Pole. My wife is
No,
Eskimo.
you don't live at the North Pole.
Yes, I do. I'm
no,
sorry.
you don't.
I live
You
in
really
the
good
North
connection
Pole.
up there in the North
You
Pole.
you don't live at the North Pole. There's no land, dude.
How do you know how he identifies?
Yeah,
Fuck
exactly.
you.
The North Pole is, I live, 200 kilometers south of the North Pole.
So you don't live at
If
the
you
North
want to
Pole.
get exact, I live 200 kilometers from the actual
in
North
where? What is it? Iceland or Finland?
No, Nunavut, Canada.
I don't know where that is. Okay.
Google it. You might learn something.
Yeah. So what? What is the point? What
Well,
is the
because
point
your
of this
point
coffee
is-
caustics?
Is saying that the South Pole and the North Pole has a sun 24/7. No,
Yes.
it does not. And
Yes, it
and
does.
I can prove it. No, it does
We
not.
can show you.
I've
There
lived
are
it for
videos.
15 years. I've lived it for 15
your personal anecdote is worthless. Personal
How is it
anecdotes are
worthless?
not data. It's not
Because
data.
You are talking to me You are talking
That's
to
right.
me personally,
Yes.
and we have gotten to know each other.
No,
but you
we
have never
haven't.
gotten to know the person that showed that time lapse video in the South Pole
Doesn't
that
matter.
shows the sun. Yeah, it does
Your
matter.
personal
it does, because
anecdotes,
because
dude.
I
would you
take
shut
your
up?
I would take your own experiences because I've talked to you
No,
for
you
a couple hours.
shouldn't.
I've gotten to know you.
You shouldn't,
I would
dude.
believe you over
You
some
shouldn't
video
believe
on
me.
Google or some video on YouTube. I would take your word for it
You
over somebody
shouldn't.
I didn't talk to. Well, that's what most
Dude,
globies
shut
do.
up.
That's
Holy
what most
shit.
globies do.
So
This coffee cup
anecdotes-
thing. Sorry, Brenda, go ahead.
Anecdotes
Just a fact of
are,
light,
are not
so you-
anecdotes are not data. So your personal experience is worthless, as is mine. What's important are objective observations.
So my personal experience is worthless. Your personal experience is
yes,
worthless. But somebody
yes.
that you believe's personal
No,
experience
no,
trumps
no.
mine and your own personal experience.
No, you
That's what
dummy.
you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that, you dummy. I'm saying that
Some
observations.
scientist from 1847 is more relevant than mine and your own personal experiences. That's what I'm getting from it.
No, objective observations and measurements are important, not personal experience.
I'm definitely objective because
You're not.
You're
not.
Actually,
Right, so you guys are
I
going in a
believe
circle.
more in the simulation than I do in the flat. So yes, I am actually extremely objective.
All right, cool. Can you give me just a second before you guys go back and forth? Because I got to get out of here.
Please.
I just want to real fast. Like, it's very simple. Okay. So you can demonstrate this physically multiple ways. You can math it out. It's a well-known effect, okay, of light with the reflective surface or just any type of surface containing the light. It will wrap around. It's a provable effect. It's repeatable. It's demonstrable. You can mathematically describe it and predict it with incredible precision. Therefore, when you said, show me how it's possible to have 3 months of sunlight or 24-hour sunlight in the south, I've given you an actual way that you cannot refute. It's objectively the way that light behaves. And
You
you're
have-
about to say,
it's not. You
"Nuh-uh."
have to
That
demonstrate.
is
Wait,
made.
hold on. Do you want me to talk for a second?
No, let him finish.
Bro,
that was,
I'm
that
not.
was it. I'm just saying,
All right,
nuh-uh
yeah,
doesn't
finish,
mean
finish.
anything. That's it.
All right, so go back to the picture of the coffee cup because you're right. In this coffee cup, it does prove that you can have light on one side of a flat Earth and the other. Oh, but it also contradicts what the whole half of the Earth. And those coffee cup pictures, about maybe 20, 35% of that left side of the coffee cup was lit. That allows it to go around the whole other side. It doesn't make sense. You show me
Incorrect.
this coffee cup picture,
Yeah, but
it contradicts a 50-50 day and night. It contradicts
That's
that.
incorrect, actually.
No,
So
it-
we've actually
no.
demonstrated this with a
Look at the
dome
picture. Look
over
at the
top
picture.
of a
Look at that. Look at that
actually
picture you're pulling up
demonstrated-
right now.
We've actually
Yeah, I
demonstrated
see-
this with a dome.
I see-
over
I
top
see
of
a
flat
point-
Earth.
The white one. Look at
You
the
guys are
coffee
scared of the
cup.
truth, man.
Caustic. Look down and to your left. You can see
We
a
don't
light
see
rim.
this. We don't
around
see
the
this
whole-
anywhere in
And,
nature. We don't see this.
Yes,
If I'm not
we do.
mistaken, I see little like light rings in the middle and on the other side that are kind of faint.
Yeah.
Do you see this on your flat Earth?
Oh, yes, I see it 3 months a year.
No, I'm
And
talking
thank
about.
you,
Look at that
Wixit,
picture he has right now. That's
for
pulled up.
proving my argument.
Look at that picture right now.
Hey, buddy,
There's
you need to
little
listen,
tiny-
though, right? If you actually want to know the truth, you have to listen, not just assume you know there's no answer. So we have demonstrated this with a dome over top of a flat Earth surface, okay? And we've shown the exact proportions of day and night.
No, you
No, you haven't. He's
Look how
right.
Okay, so
stupid
do you
that
both want to
picture
bet $500?
Look how stupid that picture looks. You're
Hey, do
telling
you
me
wanna
that's
bet?
what the Earth is doing. That's what the sun is doing to the Earth's surface right now.
But
It's
hey, you
illuminating
wanna
maybe
bet?
20% of one side and stretching
Well,
light all
not
the way
right
around the
now
other.
because it's summertime and we actually have normal days and nights
It's-
here in the north.
It's summertime here in the north, but it's winter in the south, you clown.
Oh, yeah,
my
you also
gosh.
can't prove seasons on a flat Earth as well.
Oh my gosh, bro! This is the
Where
most
are
basic
the
remedial
walls?
arguments I've
Dude,
ever heard.
where are the walls of those the cup?
It
Where
could
are
just be
the
a contain- it could be
walls?
the Earth's
South
contained.
Where is the wall? Show me the
well,
wall.
We're not
the ice
legally
walls?
allowed to privately
I
and
think-
freely
No,
explore past
show
the
it.
60th.
Show it.
I
Until
think-
you can show it, you don't know it.
Okay, so until you can show the
everybody has
core, you don't know
shown
it.
you the ice walls where there's like actual literal
There's no ice wall,
100-foot vessels are dwarfed to be
Antarctica has
Okay.
beaches,
ice walls.
dude.
So here's the thing.
You have to know how to
Antarctica
respond
has
to
a
these people,
beach.
bro. Brenda,
has a
stop.
beach.
Everybody
Stop.
pause for a second. Everybody pause for a second. So basically, just to make things really clear and concise, what we're showing here is a proof of concept, which is exactly what the only level of proof the globe provides when they say, look, the stars work
false.
this way if we assume that the Earth is a ball, and they take a basketball and then you spin it around, right? That's proof of concept, right? This right here is a proof of concept with mathematics behind it to show that it could work. Now,
No, you need to show the walls.
no, so you would need to show, by that same argument, right? You would need
No.
to show the actual liquid core, which you can't, but we still accept
Yes,
it
we
as a
can.
possible
Yes, you can.
model.
You can show that. You can show the solid core.
How is that possible when we haven't dug deeper than 7 miles?
You can do it with earthquakes and modeling the same way.
So you can guess.
Dude, the same way that the doctors can tell you the sex of your child before it's born. They don't have to open up the mother. They use ultrasound.
You had to open up
fucking
the mother.
moron.
You had to open up
You
the mother initially.
You
in order
don't have to.
figure
You can
out-
use ultrasound, you fucking clown.
My goodness. Let's just
Yikes,
tone
such
it back.
degeneracy.
Just
Super
all you
triggered.
got to do if you want to see the wall, just Google ice wall. That's all you got to do is just Google ice wall.
Some of those
And I
images are
guarantee
from
you
I thought you guys
Greenland.
didn't like Google.
the
They're from
walls around the
Greenland.
South
Did you
Pole.
know that? Those images are from Greenland. Did you know that?
Let's talk to
They're not
Brenda
all from
about
They're
Greenland.
from Greenland.
No, they're not all from
Oh
Greenland.
yeah, well
Some
I'm
of them
looking at one
are.
major
So nice,
Antarctic
completely
ice
irrelevant
wall.
comment.
Yes, the major
No,
because Greenland is in the Antarctic.
Hello,
That's
traveling.
the point.
You know
They're
what
not wall
Antarctic
images,
means?
you
It's
moron.
the anti-Arctic. So that's anti-north. So that would be south.
Hey, can I talk about ultrasound? This is for Brent. Ultrasound. How far do you believe that that they can probe with ultrasonics into the Earth?
They don't use ultrasound to probe the Earth.
Well, you mentioned, you just said something about
That was an
ultrasound
analogy. It was an
Well,
analogy.
frequencies. Then going back to troubling,
They
you said,
use earthquakes, P waves
Oh.
and S waves.
okay, they use earthquakes, but where are the
Yes.
instruments? Where are
All
the
over-
instruments?
All over the globe. Every country has people monitoring seismic activity.
No, they're not really.
They're
Yes, they
all
are.
over the
It's-
place. They're
Correct.
all over.
No,
That's what
it's
they
just
tell you,
mainly the U.S. government monitoring seismic waves.
All
I know-
countries have monitor their geometric. I mean the geological, because earthquakes happen everywhere, and it's pretty important.
And
All
where
right,
do
hey,
they
I gotta,
usually turn to? And where do they usually turn to find out what's going on? The U.S. Because
They
the
don't.
U.S.
It's
Seismic.
an international. It's an international
not
group.
Someone was saying that they have to
Yes,
do
it
something.
is.
It is
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely not. It's
Real fast,
American.
everybody,
hold
calm
on.
down. It's okay. Troubling, thanks for having me, brother. And yeah, earthquakes don't work. There's tons of arrival time anomalies on the globe succeeding over 7 minutes. All right, anyway, I love you guys. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Cheers, what's it? Hey,
peace
cheers,
out.
what's
Nice
it?
talking to you. What's it?
Big respect.
See you later.
I
Cheers.
know a little
Thanks
bit
for coming
about
on.
ultrasonic. That's
Kenny.
why I was asking the question.
Man, I got to
The
get like
point is-
a better mute button. Go ahead.
Yeah, the point is you can use you can map out using earthquake data, and then you can use that to model the interior of the Earth. It's been done
Nope.
for a long time.
Nope.
So there's
because
anomalies.
earthquake data can only go so deep. So and
That's not
Earth
true.
is too deep to even do seismic.
You don't know
from
that. You don't know
50,000
shit.
Yeah, okay. Apparently you don't know shit.
Cry harder.
Yeah, there's
All right,
admittedly
Don. I could say
anomalies.
the same thing. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say there's admittedly. I mean, he just said it. There's anomalies of over 7 minutes when you're talking about like using the arrival times and stuff to think that you know everything just because the earthquake vibrated a certain way. It's just laughable. So without actually
Why
being
is it
able to dig
laughable?
down, without being
It
able to
works.
actually dig down and verify,
You don't have to dig
So
down
you
to
do
know
because
things.
you do because
No,
when
you
do
don't.
when you
The
do
same
dig
reason
down
you
to the
don't
deeper,
have to cut open
oh
a
my
woman
goodness. So when you
to do an
Brenda,
ultrasound
listen.
of the baby.
Brenda,
Hey,
I
Brenda.
understand.
I mean, Brand, relax.
Brenda.
Hold on. When I understand the analogy, all right. I have 2 kids.
I don't think
so
you do.
I
You're too
get that.
fucking stupid to figure it out.
All right, Brenda. Well, unfortunately, that's a mute for you.
Hey,
Oh, you
Brenda.
already muted.
So
Okay, perfect.
just give me a second here. At the end of the day, there was a video of Elon Musk there a couple weeks ago saying that if we could measure deep enough that somebody was digging a hole underneath us, we would be billionaires because there's so many countries that would actually pay you to fucking figure out if somebody was digging even 3 miles beneath you because they cannot actually measure somebody even digging 3 miles beneath you. And yet this guy wants to try to say that we can measure earthquakes from thousands of miles beneath us is just absurd.
Yeah, I agree. Recall radioactive activity, right? When they do X-rays, shielding is a big deal. And what is the greatest shielding? Rocks, steel, and dirt, and space. Hey, big ups everybody. Triple, much respect, and everybody on the panel. It's my turn to leave.
How's it going, Charlie?
We're doing fine, but I have to be a good night tonight.
All righty.
Thank you.
Jim, I apologize. I muted you though because I heard a bunch of background noise, so I wasn't sure if you were trying to like get a word in. I'll ask to unmute. There you go. Yeah, Brenda was
it's all cool. Thanks.
Yeah, Brenda was getting like super duper triggered. That was unfortunate. We try not to have that kind of animosity in the chat, but hey, it is what it is. Tensions can get pretty high when talking about contentious subjects. And just to be honest, I mean, to the panel's shame tonight, there was a ton of interrupting, right, from all sides. So let's try to be better about that. And if need be, I'll get a better mute button somehow. But I think we can get it under control, right? We're all adults here, all in the pursuit of truth and intellect. So I think that we can figure this out. Now, it looks like, what time is it? It is already 1:06 over here. Okay, oh my goodness. Zoom user, I pretty much know where you stand. I don't really think that you've really heard any of the arguments really tonight. I mean, do you have any last minute questions or anything last you want to say before we go ahead and call it a show?
I do. Don was on top of Brenda for like 30 minutes saying he can't see it, so he can't prove it, which is a fair argument. But you're telling us that there is a dome around the entire planet that's refracting light in this cup model, which doesn't even prove night and day normally. It only proves a 24-hour sun. But anyways, have you seen this dome? I mean, how are we supposed to know it's there? You haven't seen it, obviously.
I agree with...
Sorry, go ahead, Trouble.
Just real quick, I was just going to say, I agree with the holding of the burden of proof, right? If we do agree that you have to actually physically see and measure and hold something tangible in order to determine its the truth of it, then I think that's a fair standard for even the barrier that may be containing us. And it would be fair to say that at that point, it's just a proof of concept, right? Like this is how it could work. If indeed that, which is all the globe has for its proofs when you think about it.
No, it doesn't.
And
we can measure things millions of miles away using spectroscopy. You know what I'm trying to say, which
So-
is
Go
continue.
ahead, sorry.
You do realize that that assumes even the medium that the light's going through and a whole bunch of other stuff. How do you empirically know the measurement of something that's millions of miles away?
Space is a near vacuum, which means the photons that
That's
are
an
coming off
assumption, isn't
that
it?
planet are hitting almost absolutely nothing on their journey to our telescopes or your camera lens or whatever.
Did you measure
But-
the area above us to know that it's a vacuum?
Oh my. Have you measured it to know that it's not a vacuum? I
The
mean,
negative claim doesn't
like-
have the burden of proof, Zoom. This is basic logic. You have
mean-
the positive claim that you know that it's a vacuum. I made no claims about the sky. You're also claiming to
Yeah.
know the measurement is a million mile of something that's a million miles away. That's another positive claim. I'm simply saying that I don't believe that you know that.
Okay,
And
From
okay,
using
give
that
me a
logic,
second here,
you
'cause
don't
I wanna-
know that the Earth is a dome. It has a dome
Yo,
around it.
oh,
You don't
yes, I
know
do.
if the sun is a couple of thousand miles up.
Correct.
You don't know that using that
Correct.
logic.
Correct. We
Well,
actually
I
don't
do
make
know there's a dome.
Uh,
And
oh,
I
oh,
can make
sorry.
the argument that there is a dome. It just, can you prove to me that it's not a dome based on my argument? And my
Can you prove to me that it is a dome?
sky rocks. Have you ever heard of sky rocks?
Yeah.
They are a crystal like blue rock that falls from the sky, and we've got thousands and thousands of years of documents on it that they fall from the sky. Is this not parts of the actual dome breaking apart and falling to the earth?
So this is
Because
rocks fall
they
from the
are
sky,
sky
therefore
rocks.
there's
No,
a
no,
dome.
no, no.
Got it.
They are sky rocks, and they are sky blue.
The sky isn't blue
So-
24/7.
So yeah, but that's because of refraction and because of the way the sun shines and so on. And
You
so
can't
on.
say refraction and then just move on. Like that
No,
doesn't
no,
mean
I am
just-
not moving on. I'm saying there's refraction, there's clouds, there's particles in the sky that changes colors to everything. But like I sat there and said, well, I've got this rock that I've proven is thousands and thousands of years old, that is evidence that it falls from the sky for no apparent reason, and they look like the sky. But then you sit there and say, oh, well, that's not evidence. Well, tell me what is evidence then, because I've got a rock that looks like the sky. It's crystal blue, and it looks like the sky on a sunny day, cloudless and everything. But then you just sit there and say, oh, well, it can't be the sky because the sky's not a dome.
Zoom.
Well, I mean, if
also,
it looks like a strawberry and tastes like a strawberry, then it's probably a strawberry, right? Like
Exactly.
Whatever
So
that doesn't
necessitates the most.
prove
if it
it.
looks like the sky, it fell from the sky, it must be part of the
Okay.
sky. So therefore,
That's
it
the
must be part of the
stupidest
dome.
thing I've
All right,
ever
all right.
heard.
I'm trying to wrap this up, so I'm gonna be interjecting once we get the point out. That way, we're not going in circles and monologuing a whole bunch. So to add on to the preponderance of evidence, to there may be a container or at least a ceiling, right? There may be infinite lands out to the side, right? So who knows if there's walls? We're trying to figure out the realm of which we live, right? So it could be anything. But with that being said, we have a charge differential of 100 volts per meter as we go up higher and higher. That means the higher we go, the more volts you get. And so this is
Free
something,
energy, baby. Free energy.
so this is something that's actually demonstratable, that this effect is demonstrated between two Gaussian surfaces. You actually need two surfaces to maintain the energy and to transmit the charge. So that would indicate to us, since we actually see this in reality, that we have this charge differential going 100 volts per meter up, that would necessitate that there is a barrier of some kind above us. Now, this barrier has actually been, in my opinion, verified, and I have to look into it a little bit more, but I think that barrier is actually the troposphere that they're claiming to bounce microwaves off of. So there's an area of very high density. They claim a high electron density that's able to bounce these things. So high electron density, when it's high electrons, I mean, it could be physical, could be kind of physical. In any case, it's a barrier of some kind. So just something towards that preponderance of evidence. Not only that, but there's also gas pressure. It is true that we live within a gas pressure gradient. But the other thing that's true is that we can't create gas pressure gradients without having a complete container because gas spreads out in all directions. So that would also necessitate that we have a container of some kind. So there you go. It's not definitive proof, but it is a logical antecedent would be the term.
Well, my logical argument on that one would be it would be just like satellite systems. Back in the 60s and 70s, we started creating satellites that we shot up into space, apparently, and said that these were satellites. Well, guess what we used to call satellites? Back in the 50s and the 60s, guess what people used to call satellites? They used to call them artificial satellites. So apparently we have natural satellites because we would have never called them artificial if we did not have natural. So
There are natural satellites.
Oh yeah, the dome, because it's shining off or it's reflecting off of the dome in certain areas where it's more reflective than other parts of the dome, and therefore we have natural satellites. And we have artificial satellites, which are balloons and the things that are floating in the sky,
All
and
right,
they come
so-
falling down in the U.S.
All right,
because
I want to move it. I want to move it along because we know about
Sure.
the satellites. Zoom user, you said that you had that it wasn't all just proof of concept evidences when it comes to the globe. Now you did mention like measurements of stars, but we can obviously dismiss that since you can admit that we can't really verify those measurements. Is there something else that would be empirical that we could use to verify the shape of which we live?
The Cavendish experiment, the sticks of like what was it like 5,000 years ago? Not 5,000.
So you're dealing
sorry.
with some. Just so you know, Zoom, I'm going to save you some trouble and let you know you're dealing with some veterans. We've been around the block. We've heard all these questions before, so I go ahead and answer both of these in one foul swoop. Cavendish experiment, right? Can we concede, even if I like give you the point for just the easiest? And I know some people in the community is like, you don't have to do that. It's like I know I don't have to, but this is just for the sake of time. We can admit that things have an attractive force towards each other, right? And that the Cavendish experiment kind of shows that. But we know also that there's a force that's causing the things in the atoms to be drawn together, right? That's called the electrostatic or the strong nuclear force. So this is the thing that actually holds things in reality that we observe and can measure together. And so we can, without isolating that, how can you say then that you have isolated gravity, which is the bending and warping of a concept? When you don't even need to do that, you can just say, yeah, mass attracts mass because you have these the electrostatics in the atoms. Fair enough. Where does that actually pull things into spheres? That's a positive claim that the force is radial, and we don't have any evidence of that.
I mean, the bending of space-time it's just a theory, and it's a theory that's pretty much correct, but it's not perfect. Just when
it's
Newton's
97%.
Measurements.
Zoom, just so you know, it's 97% incorrect according to the mainstream standard.
Of course, it's not correct because it's just a theory. It's just something we use in our calculation.
Well, you just said it was like almost like correct, and I just said it's 97% incorrect. So I just wonder what your margin of something being right would be.
It's the best we have so far is my point. What I'm trying to say is just like
let me show. There is a paper that you can look up called the Neo-Tychonic system. There's a dynamical and kinematical equivalent to the heliocentric model as far as the forces and planetary motions go.
What I'm saying is,
so is 19, and then the Royal Society in November 6th of 1919 when they said that 2 plates out of 32 pictures, November 10, and the Royal Society lied to the world November 6, 1919, when they confirmed the bending and warping of space-time?
He probably doesn't know anything about that, Jim.
But I'm just saying.
This is on a piece of paper on your desk you prepared 10 hours ago.
Zoom, I'm just saying this to you. If the bending and warping of space-time has been everything this world has gone with in the last 104 years, as if it is physical, and Zoom works with the bending and warping of space-time for the last 104 years.
A theory is like the most pristine and most accurate thing we can give to something that is not a fact.
3% is not pristine and the most accurate. You're making an argument on a 3% accuracy. Ours is a 97% accuracy.
Right, but
We
you don't
are
even
saying
have.
So yes, there are flat Earth models out there, and that's actually a completely disingenuous argument in itself
No,
because
no.
there's not one model. The Globers will expect us to explain every single phenomenon in the universe in order to accept any alternative to the mainstream model, and that's just
You could do
unfortunately
that on a
not.
car, the 24-hour daylight.
years of my life,
Right.
and
But you
the
said you
rest of
live
my
200
family
kilometers
lived it
from the
for their
pole.
entire life.
You said you live 200 kilometers from the North Pole, correct?
Correct.
There's no land within 200 kilometers of the North Pole.
Oh, so there's not
Oof.
Alert, Nunavut, there's not Iqaluit, there's not.
Where, do you live in Alert? Do you live in Alert?
I live just south of Alert.
Okay. How far is Alert?
By the way, and then we're just gonna do around the panel real quick, and I'm closing out because it is late as hell. Thank you guys for joining me. You guys have been awesome.
So it's what, 800 and something kilometers away from the North Pole? But then yet they built the dew line because they were afraid that the Russians would fly over and attack the Americans.
Do you live 200 kilometers from the North Pole? Yes.
Come on. I live
It's a lie.
about
That's just a
300
lie.
kilometers. No, it is a rough guess. So you're trying to straw man me because the fact I made a rough estimate in my head, and now you're trying to discredit me because I made a rough estimate. And you're like, you can't make any other argument but the fact that I made a rough estimate. And that's the only argument. Yeah, I could tell.
Okay. So I'm at 34 degrees south, right? So I know that I'm 56 degrees away from the South Pole, and there's approximately 111 kilometers per degree. So I'm about 6,000 kilometers from the South Pole.
So then how can you sit there and say what the South Pole is all about?
I'm just saying.
And
you said specifically, you put forward your personal testimony as no 24-hour sunlight, and you're nowhere near the North Pole. You're 800
you are
kilometers
trying
away.
to say that you're 6,000 kilometers away from the South Pole, and you've just sat there and said that I'm roughly 800 kilometers away from
more
the
than
South
800,
Pole, or more than 800. So I'm like, let's say 1,000. Okay, I'll succeed to 1,000. But yeah, you know more about the South Pole than I do of the North Pole because you're 6,000 kilometers away from it.
He's putting his personal testimony forward about how he doesn't experience 24/7 sunlight or darkness. He's a long way from the pole. He should experience some, to be fair. He should have some periods of daylight and sunlight.
He said that he has 3 months, and that would kind of lead towards the suggestion of like the more towards the coffee. I can't remember what it was called.
Coffee caustic, yeah.
Yeah,
he should have periods where the sun is in the sky. I'm not sure for how long.
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No,
I think you're wrong.
Mean it for 6 hours of the morning or like daytime, but I will concede that maybe 8 hours or 10 hours, but not 24 hours. No. Like I do
I think you're wrong.
Daylight while I'm not, because you can ask my wife and you can ask my elder of a father, because my father is an elder of the Inuit tribes. So yeah, and he's like in his 70s, and he will sit there and say the same thing too, that no, there is not a 24-hour sun in the sky. We don't ever see the sun 24 hours a day.
And I would really like to
I think you're wrong.
I would really like to sometimes possibly talk to your 70-year-old Inuit, and that's fine. I'm sorry to be rushing. I'm sorry to be rushing along. It's just that's I want to get into their lore, and I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say. So I think that'd be a great show.
And he actually grew up in an igloo. So yes, like when back in his day, they didn't have houses; they had igloos. My wife, the same thing. Like when I actually moved there, we didn't have no hours.
All right, let's go ahead and go around the panel. Let's start with Jim. And
yeah, Troubling. Thanks very much for another nice show, and hopefully next Monday we can do it again. But everybody take care and have a great week.
Jim, thank you so much for coming on, being cordial and giving great arguments as usual. All right, let's continue around the panel. Let's go Zoom user. Are you there, Zoom user? Going once.
Luke,
Sorry, I thought I was muted. Muted. Thanks for the opportunity. I guess still around Earther. $20 is still.
To be fair, you should have defined your level of proof beforehand. But in any case,
I mean, proof is prove it. I guess.
Yeah. For my closing statement, prove it to whose subjective standard of proof, right? You've got what's his name, Dave Weiss, offering 3 Bitcoin. The criteria to meet his challenge are not well defined at all. On the other hand, you've got someone like McToon offering I think it's $10,000 or something for the celestial navigation challenge.
The panel, but wasn't part of the challenge the reason why nobody was doing it is because he was trying to say that every single map that existed was a globe projection and therefore wouldn't count.
Possibly, but he did put out a second version where that I think was not the case. So you can use whatever map you like.
I would take a look at that.
I would allow, yeah. I'll allow you to use any map you like, and I'll give you 10 grand if you can do it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that. I could use 10 grand, but
yeah.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go Don Pettit.
Well, this is Don. Sorry for the language a couple times, and sorry for over talking people at times. I'm trying to learn this new thing that I've just jumped into with the whole streaming and the whole Zoom kind of thing and all that stuff. But I hope people get to know me and learn more about my thought process because I'm willing to learn. I just want people to learn or understand my thought process in the same process.
All righty, awesome. And Ruhit, did you already go or are you going now?
No, I said my bit about proof, about challenges. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. Shoot me the details of that challenge. I'll see if I can whip something together. That sounds awesome. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say my bit. First and foremost, I've been putting this to the back burner, but huge shout out to those who have actually put forward to support the show. By the way, Ruhiv, obviously, for those who don't know, we do have support from all members of the aisle to have the conversation. So Ruhiv actually has shown his support by helping us with the Zoom that we are using. So huge shout out. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, we didn't have to stop and restart the Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. It was fantastic. Yeah. But we also have Crack a Bear, $5 tip over in Rockfin. Huge. Thank you so much for that. And then we also have Adrian Quintana. Thank you so much for that. No messages, though. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else here. All righty. Let's go ahead and shout out some people, and then we'll get on out of here. Tiffany Vinci, shout out legend over in trying to keep up. Sorry. All right. We also have. This is what I get for trying to do this on my phone. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and close out this Zoom, and then I'll see you guys on the other side. That way I can do it on the computer. Peace out.
Cool.
All righty. Let's go ahead and get out of there. Get back into the studio. Awesome. Feels like it's been hours since I've been here, literally. All right. Huge shout out, guys. Let's go ahead and get her done and get you guys out of here. So, over in the Rockfin, we have John Osborne, Nominal, Benny Boy, Shifty Eyes Shady, John Hill, Mischief Brew, Crack a Bear. Excuse me. Let me see if there's anybody else that I'm missing. I think we called everybody else. We did Lord Byron. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Can't get everybody all the time. And then we also have over on YouTube, the legends, the Emperor, JJ Clem, Admiral, Dickie Bird, One Neo, Nominal, Austin Murphy, Reed, Pacu McCleaver, Charlie. Who else? TJ, Trusty, FE Nation, and Nuba, of course, can't forget Nuba, Rachel, New York Truth. By the way, guys, be sure to check out the movement. All right, so go ahead and find out more by going to that website and signing up. All right, live music, question the answers, F'd Up World, RTH, Freya, Phoenix, 3000th Trend. Man, there's a lot of people in here. I'm not going to be able to go through them all. That's a lot of repeats too. All right, I love you anyway, though. Don't take any hard feelings, of course. If we missed you, you know, there's always next time. But I do got to get to bed. This has been an awesome show. Can't wait to go back, rewatch it, maybe get some cool clips. But yeah, be sure to stay tuned. We got the True Fate debate coming Wednesday night, and that should be a blast as well. Also, some killer merch. Go check it out. We got the Flat Life shirts making a fashion statement, sweeping the nation. Don't be the last one to get yours, right? Limited stock, yada, yada. All right, let's go ahead and get this. Without further ado, peace. Until next time.